Pokémon, the story of Yu Yu. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1 Yu Yu. Pokémon are unique and special elves. They are the darlings of heaven and earth and the best partners of humans. But Pokémon often cannot explore their own potential and need to rely on humans. This kind of people is us, trainers. For different Pokémon, different training plans need to be set according to their attributes, characteristics, personality, physiology, and specialties. For example, Pidgeot has a gentle personality, a good sense of direction, is close to people, and its final evolutionary form, Pidgeot, can fly at an ultra high speed of 2 Mach. It is a Pokémon with great potential. When training, focus on speed. Between Cerulean City and Vermilion City, there is a luxurious Pokémon Academy. It has the most superior training facilities, the most abundant resources, and even retired kings come here to give lectures. It is famous in Kanto. Students who graduate here can directly participate in the Kanto Quartz Conference without collecting 8 gym badges, which shows the high recognition of the Alliance. And students with excellent grades are very likely to be directly recommended as gym trainers or Alliance members. This Pokémon Academy is known as the cradle of the Alliance. Therefore, many wealthy people in Kanto racked their brains to send their children here, and the children who came in also studied hard, fearing that they would be expelled if something went wrong. But there are always exceptions. Look, when a teacher was giving a lecture, a boy with short black hair was leaning against the window, looking at the scenery outside the window boredly. Yu Yu, the ghost of Yu. He is not afraid of being expelled, because the largest shareholder of this school is his uncle. Not to mention not paying attention in class, even if he skipped classes for 10 days, or even went so far as to beat the teacher, no one dared to expel him. What's more, his grades were the best in the whole grade. The teachers also favored him. Others were distracted and scolded, but he was distracted. That was the thinking of a genius. Ding-ling-ling, the relaxed and cheerful bell for the end of get out of class rang, and the teacher packed up and left. Yu Yu stretched and got up from his seat. Yu Yu, let's have a Pokémon duel. As soon as she got up, a girl dressed like a princess came to Yu Yu with a proud face to challenge her, raising her smooth chin, just like a proud peacock. Utoside, the most beautiful girl in the junior class of the Pokémon Academy, and the former top student. The reason why she was the former was that when Yu Yu came, she became the second. Not interested. Yu Yu refused without thinking and turned away. Back and forth. There are only a few routines. Repeatedly abusing the same dish. There is no pleasure at all. Stop him. Seeing Yu Yu was about to leave, Utoside immediately said. Several Pokémon male students took a step forward without thinking, and were about to stop Yu Yu. As the goddess and big sister of the Pokémon school's junior class, almost all the boys in the junior class can be said to be Utoside's fans. And of course, everyone is very happy to show their faces in front of the goddess. Just as they stopped Yu Yu, a cold breath came out of Yu Yu. Several boys were shocked, as if something disappeared from their bodies. They felt a little fear in their hearts. When they looked at Yu Yu again, it seemed that they were not looking at a person, but a devil. Their faces turned pale, their bodies stiffened, and they could not move. They watched Yu Yu pass through. It seemed that there was a devil living in the shadow, showing a devilish smile. Utoside was so angry that he jumped up and down, but he could not do anything to Yu Yu. When he walked out of the classroom, a ghost-like purple gas suddenly emerged from Yu Yu's shadow and laughed in Yu Yu's ear. Yu Yu didn't care at all and continued to walk out. Ghost Pokémon, ghastly. It has the dual attributes of ghost and poison, and can lurk freely in the shadows of humans, and has incredible superpowers. The favorite thing is to create various illusions, to scare people for fun. The boys were frightened by Ghastly's illusion just now. Looking up at the bright sun in the sky and the beautiful scenery around, Yu Yu smiled with satisfaction. There is a lot of free time here, the scenery is charming, and there are artificially planned places everywhere. There are no particularly dangerous wild Pokémon. In addition, the principal dare not confront him. It is really a holy place for school. Yu Yu sighed slightly and whistled. Then a sound of horse hooves sounded, and a snow white pony with a fluffy flame mane ran towards this side and licked Yu's face affectionately with his tongue. Good boy, I know you like me, you don't have to lick me like this. Yu touched the little fire horse with a doting smile. In the Pokémon world, before the age of 10, you cannot have your own Pokémon. But if you enter the Pokémon school, you can temporarily rent the Pokémon of the Pokémon school to use. This is also the main purpose of the establishment of the Pokémon school, so that children who like Pokémon can contact Pokémon earlier, understand Pokémon, and lay a solid foundation for becoming Pokémon trainers in the future. The little fire horse is Yu's exclusive study partner in the Pokémon school. If Yu can complete the assessment and graduate successfully, he can take this Pokémon away. He turned over, rode on the little fire horse, galloped, ran to the woods on the side, and enjoyed the thrill of running at full speed. When he was tired, he lay down to rest by the lake he often went to, and the little fire horse happily ate the grass here, looking up at the blue sky and white clouds, as well as the waves flying by from time to time. Yu's eyes flashed with a trace of nostalgia. 10 years. It has been 10 years since I came to this world. A time traveler, or more accurately, a reborn person with memories of the previous life. Yu's hidden identity, but he is a little low as a time traveler, a pitiful time traveler who doesn't even have a golden finger. I don't know why he traveled through time and became a baby and came to the Pokémon world. When he saw that the one delivering the baby was a Jigglypuff, he was scared and cried on the spot. But later he gradually got used to it. Especially when he found that his family was a little bit awesome. His great aunt is Kiku, one of the 4 heavenly kings. That's right, it's Kiku, who is actually the poison type heavenly king in a ghostly skin. She is the oldest heavenly king in Kanto and even in the entire alliance. A great man who has set new records. Relatively speaking, his parents are a bit worse, just a simple, useless senior official of the alliance and a wealthy businessman. Born in such a family, Yu can be said to be born with a golden key. That's how Yu fell. A normal person, when coming to the Pokémon world, will definitely do one thing: challenge the gym, join the alliance, and become a Pokémon master. However, he refused. He slept in the open air, looked vicissitudes of life, traveled on foot, and went into various deep mountains and old forests. Is it because the modern city is not comfortable enough, or the wild old forests are not dangerous enough? Although the physical fitness of humans in this world is much better than that of the previous life, there has never been a lack of travelers who died in the deep mountains and old forests every year for various reasons. Children should be like children. A 10-year-old child, not going to school, what is he running around for? Traveling is even more impossible. Yu was determined, so his parents did not force him and chose to let him go to school here. After graduation, they would arrange connections to join the league, and after a few decades, they would become a senator and a high-ranking official. Harmony. Yu also liked this arrangement. After all, this world is not as safe as in the animation. Not all rocket teams are at the level of Musashi and his 3 members. The villain organizations in this world are very rampant, and it is also very dangerous to suppress them. For example, Yu's grandfather, whom he had never seen, died heroically in the cross-regional joint operation in SYNOPSIS. Therefore, Yu swore to the sky in front of his grandfather's portrait that he would never go to the front line. Just be like everyone else, and be an ordinary person with a family fortune of 10 billion. Becoming a Pokémon master, and protecting the legendary beasts. This glorious mission should be handed over to Sasaki, the protagonist who can never die. Close your eyes and enjoy nature. Everything is very comfortable. Until a hedgehog-headed boy driving a sports car with 6 beautiful cheerleaders arrived. Yu, duel with me. Chapter 2 Zio Mao. Yu reluctantly opened his eyes, looked at the hedgehog-headed boy, and said unhappily, "What kind of Pokémon duel? I'm not interested, don't bother me. What happened today? Why do they want to duel with me? I don't even get a good night's sleep. Don't come on, I've got the Pokémon, and I've also got the gym badge. I heard from Aunt Kyojin that you're here, and I came to find you on purpose." The hedgehog-headed boy said. Zio Mao, you're awesome. Zio Mao, you're the best. At this time, 6 beautiful cheerleaders shouted at the same time on the sports car. Yu listened to the cheers and looked at the hedgehog-headed boy with a little envy in his eyes. Everyone was born in the same family, and Yu was even better. He could basically suppress him in all aspects, except for his girlfriend. Oh, I really want to beat him. Hedgehog-headed boy, Oki Shigeru. In the original animation, he was the first rival of the protagonist Zyossi. He was the grandson of the famous Kanto doctor Dr. Oki. As for why Yu knew Zyomao, that has to go back to some of the past events that Professor Oak and Yu's grandmother Kikuko had to tell when they were young. Although for various reasons, the two did not end up together, and Kikuko was very dissatisfied with Oak's behavior of not fighting anymore and becoming a research doctor. She went to Oak's research institute every day to beat up Professor Oak in the first few years, and then they almost cut off contact. Every year when the alliance meets, they have to make a few sarcastic remarks as usual, but the contact between the two families has never been broken. When Yu's grandfather was alive, he was a good friend of Professor Oak, and the time when Professor Oak changed from a trainer to a doctor was almost the time when Yu's grandfather died. So he once suspected that Professor Oak changed his career because of this previous experience. When he was a child, Yu often went to Pallet Town to play, and he was very familiar with Zyomao and the original protagonist Zyossi. And as a person with an adult's mind, it was too easy to play with two little brats, so he made some big and small sons. Zyossi was okay. Although he didn't have much money, he was really stupid and didn't care at all. But Zyomao is different. He holds grudges and always wants revenge. Now, he finally found an opportunity. I'm not interested. Don't bother me. Work hard and strive to become a Pokémon master, just like Professor Oak. Don't come to me. Yu said. It's useless. I want to avenge my grudge. If you don't compete with me, I will pester you. Zyomao said. You really want to compete, right? Yu sighed. That's right. Zyomao said. Then it's a deal. Only compete once. No matter you win or lose, you are not allowed to bother me again. Yu said. It's better to get rid of it quickly, otherwise my wonderful lazy time will be reduced a lot. No problem. Zyomao said. How could he lose? He traveled with the goal of becoming the world's strongest Pokémon trainer and quickly crushed and defeated the people in the two gyms. This time, he will definitely teach Yu a vicious lesson. Okay, one-on-one, we two fight, and there's no need to talk about the referee. Yu said. No, 6-6. Zyomao said. 6-6. Yu looked at Zyomao in surprise. How long have you been on the road? A month or so? You already have 6 Pokémon? Should we say that he is worthy of being the guy who has 200 Pokémon in the original book? After a little sigh, Yu said, I only have 2 in total, at most 2-2. You only have 2, so you are so bad. Zyomao said with extreme disdain. Yu's face darkened. Does the number of my Pokémon have anything to do with whether I'm bad or not? Forget it, let you go. 2-2. Zyomao took out a Pokéball, and a red light flashed. A silly blue turtle Pokémon appeared on the field, with a shiny bald head without even a hair, and a silly pair of purple eyes, looking as if it was harmless to humans and animals. Silly turtle. Yu looked at the silly eyes and blurted out, no, it's wrong bald turtle. What did you say? Zyomao's originally ugly face suddenly became even uglier, and even the silly eyes of the turtle seemed to become sharper. Oh, sorry, Squirtle. Yu apologized with a smile. Squirtle, one of the 3 new Pokémon that new trainers in Kanto will get. The Grandmaster of the Silly World. Together with Charmander and Bulbasaur, they are collectively known as the 3 great Pokémon in Kanto. It is Zyomao's first Pokémon, the Blastoise in the future. Yu's insincere apology obviously did not satisfy Zyomao and Squirtle. They stared at Yu in unison, with surprisingly consistent eyes. Yu spread his hands innocently, and ghastly in the shadow, showed the same unscrupulous smile as his trainer. The 2 people, 2 pets, and 2 expressions were extremely harmonious. I'll attack first, Squirtle. Use water gun. Zyomao took the lead in breaking the balance, and issued an attack command. Squirtle opened his mouth wide, and a thick stream of water shot towards Ghastly. Get out of the way. Yu gave the order naturally. Ghastly floated lightly, as if it had no weight, and easily avoided Squirtle's attack. Squirtle, don't relax, fire the water gun. Squirtle's face was solemn, and his mouth spit out strong water jets at Ghastly. Not bad. High frequency shooting. Your Squirtle is almost as strong as a high level Pokémon. Yu said. The strength of Pokémon is artificially divided into 7 levels. Primary, Intermediate, Advanced, Elite, Quasi-King, King, and Champion. Generally speaking, the 3 starter Pokémon obtained by new trainers are all primary strength. After training, they can quickly enter the intermediate level and the advanced strength, and they have not evolved yet, which shows that Xiaomao's training is very good. During the battle, you are still distracted. Do you look down on me? Xiaomao said angrily. There is no way. Your Squirtle can't hit Ghastly, Yu said indifferently. As one of the lightest Pokémon, Ghastly weighs only 0.1 kilograms, has a floating characteristic, and has a high speed race value. The talent in dodging is really full. Besides, Yu's Ghastly is not an ordinary Ghastly. It is the offspring of his great aunt Jenga, who is said to be the king, but is actually the champion. He has excellent innate genes and his unscrupulous master likes to escape the most. Therefore, although he is only at the level of a high-level elf, in terms of speed, he has almost reached the elite level. Nonsense, Squirtle, let him see how powerful you are. Fire the water gun continuously, Xiaomao said in disbelief. Squirtle's eyes widened, with a serious face, and the water gun fired continuously. The frequency was getting faster and faster, and there was a tendency to catch up with Ghastly. Xiaomao was delighted. As the grandson of Professor Oak, the first Pokémon researcher, he had a wealth of theoretical knowledge. Ghastly's speed and attack talents were very high, but his defense and health were notoriously poor. If he could hit twice in a row, Ghastly would almost lose his combat effectiveness. Yu's expression did not change. Looking at the obviously tired Squirtle, a smile appeared on his face and he said, Ghastly, ground walking. It's almost over. Ghastly suddenly changed, and a strange light appeared in his 2 eyes. Xiaomao's face changed drastically, and he immediately raised his mental alert. Ground walking? What trick? A newly discovered trick? The name contains ground, so it must be a ground attributed trick. But isn't Ghastly a ghost type and poison type trick? Although it is possible to learn tricks other than ghost type and poison type tricks, it is difficult, and a creature like Ghastly should not be able to learn ground type tricks. Could it be a new discovery of the king of Kiku? Xiaomao was alert and focused, and his emotions infected Squirtle. Both the man and the pet were extremely cautious. Then Ghastly turned into a shadow and drilled on the ground. Xiaomao was stunned. What? This is ground walking? Isn't it just a ghost Pokémon sliding on the ground like a shadow? Can this be called a trick? Hypnosis. While Xiaomao was in a daze, Yu quickly issued a real attack order. Immediately, Ghastly released a strong hypnotic wave towards Squirtle. Squirtle had just sprayed many water jets and was already tired. Now hypnotized by the hypnotic wave, it immediately retracted its body into its shell and fell asleep. You're kidding me. Xiaomao only reacted at this time and looked at Yu angrily. I'm sorry, it's reasonable and legal to agree on your own code with Pokémon. The League Conference also agrees with it. And as long as I don't say insulting words to my opponent, I can say anything during the game. Yu spread his hands and said. The real Pokémon duel is a world away from the round-based battles in the game where you make a move and I make a move. In addition to considering the attributes, characteristics, special move attributes, and levels of Pokémon, which can be transformed into numerical simulations, there are also actual environmental considerations, Pokémon's personality, Pokémon's physiological characteristics, and the personality of the trainer, which are difficult to quantify. Cheating is naturally allowed. Besides, Yu really didn't intend to cheat. He said that the ground walking technique was just a thought, to pretend to be more cool. But he didn't expect that he was really fooled. At this age, Xiaomao is too naive. I don't know how the trainers of the previous 2 gyms lost their badges. Are they so bad? Yu secretly complained in his heart, but when he thought of the trainers of the previous 2 gyms, he suddenly realized something. Xiaogang in the Nabi gym was also a badass at that time. Meowth could defeat his main force Onyx with a bucket of water. As for the second Cerulean gym, everyone knows it, so it's better not to mention it. Chapter 3, Total Victory. Comeback. Squirtle. Xiaomao took back Squirtle. Although sleeping would not result in loss of combat effectiveness, facing a dream eating Ghastly, sleeping would basically result in death sentence. So why let his Pokémon suffer again? They were going to lose anyway. What Pokémon will you send in the second game? Xiaomao looked at Yu seriously. The failure in the first game made him take Yu seriously. Although the man in front of him was a slacker and a rogue, he did not break the law and had to be more careful to win. Isn't it obvious? Little Firehorse, come here, let's fight. Yu hooked his hand at Little Firehorse, and Little Firehorse immediately ran over, full of energy. Fire attribute Pokémon, then it's you. Come out, Growlithe. Xiaomao threw the Pokéball, a red light flashed, and an orange-yellow puppy appeared in the field. Although it was a puppy, it was also very cute, but the first thing that came to mind when seeing this dog was not cute, but mighty. Bright eyes, strong and powerful limbs, and distinct black stripes. Growlithe, Miss Juncha's exclusive police dog. It is also one of the Pokémon that is closest to humans. However, when he came out, Ponytail showed a little timid expression. Yu knew it well. It was the characteristics of Growlithe. He threatened and comforted Ponytail a little, so that it could cheer up and go on the field. His face became serious. Unlike Haunter, who had excellent genes and had been eating high quality feed specially prepared by his family since he was a child, Ponytail was from the school. Although he was good, he was just good. Compared with the Growlithe on the opposite side, he had no advantage. Ponytail, move at high speed. Yu took the power of attacking first without hesitation and quickly issued an order. Ponytail's four hooves were flying in the wind, running fast, and the speed was so fast that it almost left an Afka image in the field. We are not afraid of speed, Growlithe. We will also use high speed movement. Xiaomao said. Growlithe's eyes were sharp, and it turned into a stream of light and ran towards Ponytail, blowing sand all the way. The two figures kept speeding up and constantly testing each other in the competition venue. Yu stared at the battle scene with a focused expression, closely watching the two fast-moving Pokémon in the field and paying attention to the trajectory. In terms of speed, Charmeleon has some advantages. Although after completing the evolution, the evolved form of Growlithe, Arcanine, is the first Pokémon known to mankind to learn super speed, and once set super speed as its exclusive trick. Its short distance race speed is second to none among land Pokémon. Even the evolved form of Charmeleon, the sprinter, Flamahorn, has to admit defeat. But before the evolution, Charmeleon was slightly better than Growlithe in terms of speed and race value. With a high degree of concentration, Yu finally found a moment and made a quick decision. Left, spray flames. The figure missed, and Charmeleon used a speed faster than Growlithe to stabilize its body in advance, and then suddenly sprayed a ball of hot flames, accurately hitting Growlithe, which was a beat slower than it. Growlithe was hit by the flames. Even though it was a fire Pokémon and had a certain resistance to flames, it was still blown away by the flames. Flame wheel. Yu kept giving orders. The little charcoal ran quickly, with a raging flame all over its body. As it ran, it quickly turned into a rotating flame wheel and crashed into Growlithe. Growlithe, don't be afraid. We will also use the flame wheel. Xiaomao said. Growlithe let out a low growl. As a fire Pokémon, the spray of flames did not cause much damage to it. It quickly spun around and completed the flame wheel at a much faster speed than the little charcoal. It crashed into the little charcoal with great momentum. In terms of momentum, it was much stronger than the little charcoal. But when Yu heard this order, his expression was very strange. The two flames collided violently. However, the imagined fierce collision did not happen. The two flames collided, but the little fire horse didn't seem to be hurt at all. Instead, it looked happy, and the power of the flames on its body increased greatly. The flame wheel, which was originally only slightly smaller than the flame wheel of the caterpillar, suddenly expanded to 1.5 times that of the flame wheel of the caterpillar. Then the big flame wheel ruthlessly crushed the small flame wheel and knocked it away. The petite caterpillar flew out like a kite with a broken string. Little fire horse, hit. Little fire horse leaped into the air and slammed into the belly of the caterpillar, knocking the caterpillar 10 meters away. It fell heavily to the ground, raising a cloud of dust. Catty, how is it? Xiaomao looked at the caterpillar worriedly. I saw the caterpillar stand up from the ground with a firm expression. Although it was covered with wounds, its eyes were still focused and expressed its desire to fight. Okay, caterpillar, use bite and crush. Xiaomao gave the order again. The evil energy in the caterpillar's mouth gathered, and it was about to pounce on the little fire horse. Trampling, however, before he could make any move, a gust of hot wind blew over. Little fire horse rushed to the front of Growlithe and stepped down with its front hooves. Growlithe was hit hard and fainted immediately, revealing a pair of circular eyes. Growlithe, you have lost your ability to fight. Yu crossed his arms, jumped from a player to a referee, made a judgment, and then walked to Little Firehorse, touched Little Firehorse's head and said, "Thank you for your hard work." Little Firehorse licked Yu's face with his tongue to express his pleasure. On the other side, Xiaomao looked lonely. He didn't expect that he would lose to Yu, a lazy person who didn't even dare to travel. He took Growlithe back to the treasure ball with a heavy expression, looked at Yu and said, "Why did the power of Little Firehorse's flame wheel suddenly increase when the flame wheel collided just now?" In the previous game, although Growlithe lost at the beginning, the impact was not great. The key was the collision of the flame wheel. After that, the rhythm of the game was completely controlled by Yu. Growlithe was hit by the flame wheel, collision, and trample. Are you really Professor Oak's grandson? Don't you know that Ponyta's characteristic is fire attack? When attacked by a fire attribute move, it will absorb the flames, making the fire attribute moves it uses stronger. Yu asked back. He judged that Growlithe's characteristic was intimidation, so he dared to let Ponyta use the fire move on Growlithe. So when he saw Xiaomao letting Growlithe use the fire move to attack Ponyta, he smiled. Characteristics? Xiaomao frowned and said, "Isn't Ponyta's characteristic flame body? If you touch its body, you will be burned." Pokémon of the same species usually have several characteristics, and then they have different characteristics depending on the Pokémon, such as fire attack and flame body. Just like Growlithe's characteristics are intimidation, fire attack, and justice, all of which are possible. Understand? Yu said. "When I finish my journey, I will know more than you. Then I will come to you again, fight you 6-6, and then defeat you head on." Xiaomao said a cruel word with hatred, then drove away in a sports car with the beauty. Looking at Xiaomao walking away, Yu raised his eyebrows. Those who knew would say that Xiaomao lost, while those who didn't thought he won. But Xiaomao is here. Xiaozi won't be far behind. Although Xiaozi is nothing to see, but when Xiaozi arrives, Pikachu will also come. Pikachu at this time has not yet been deified. It is cute and just right for playing. A certain electric mouse who is still in the cerulean gym suddenly shivered. Pika. Chapter 4 Midterm Mock Exam. There is only half a month left before the midterm exam. In this half month, we must work hard and strive to get a good grade, a grade that is worthy of ourselves and our parents. In order to motivate everyone, the school has specially organized this midterm exam. The top 3 students can get a free trip to the Sinnoh region and explore the ancient sites with the famous Sinnoh doctor, Dr. Mr. Orchid. The elementary classroom. The head teacher, Hetty Ping, wore a pair of large black framed glasses and looked enthusiastic. A group of students in the classroom looked up and looked at him eagerly. Dr. Mr. Orchid, the first person in the study of Pokémon archaeology. If you have the opportunity to study with her, it will be of great help to your future growth. And more importantly, she has a granddaughter named Sirona. Yes, that's Sinnoh champion Sirona. Although she is not a regional champion at this time, she has won several regional league championships. She is the idol goddess in the hearts of countless Sinnoh trainers. Even the scope should be larger. After all, most of the master trainers are male, and there are fewer females, and there are even fewer good looking ones, so a strong and good looking trainer can easily become a national goddess. Like Dragon Master Do, the synonym of the strong. Every time he fights, the fans of the whole arena cheer, but when he fights the Ice King Kona, the whole arena boos him and hopes that he will lose. Of course, he lives up to expectations and loses every year. Compared with Sharona, the school beauty of the elementary class, Utoside is not a big difference, but there is no comparison at all. And Utoside herself also has bright eyes. Sharona is her idol. Even Yu, a student who has never been very close to her, raised his head. Going to travel to Sinnoh seems to be quite good. Leading a large team, nothing will go wrong. The class teacher Helping raised his glasses on the bridge of his nose, very satisfied with everyone's reaction, and said slowly, and this expedition, it is said that Miss Sharona, the champion of the Kanto conference last year, will also be present in person. As soon as these words came out, the whole class was completely boiling. Originally it was just a possibility, but now it is a reality, goddess. The black screen also allowed the crowd to boil, and after a while, it suddenly frowned and said, but this is a reward for the winner, and the loser will not get it. Those who fail this exam will be included in the inspection list, and those who fail 3 times in a row will be expelled. These words were like a bucket of cold water poured down, and most of the students' faces were tense, as if they were facing a great enemy. Being expelled from here would be embarrassing. It was the same for both themselves and their families. Okay, now it's time for the quiz. The black screen was expressionless, and then the test papers were handed out one by one. Yu's expression suddenly became serious, and he picked up the pen and started to do the questions. The Pokémon school exam is divided into 3 parts. One part is the written test paper questions, accounting for 30%. One part is the computer simulation, similar to the game Yu played in his previous life, accounting for 30%. And the last part is the actual combat, accounting for 40%. Among them, the written test questions include 300 multiple choice questions and 2 essay questions. 1. Attached picture. Which of the following Pokémon does not have dragon attributes? A. Charizard. B. Desert Dragon. C. Land Shark. D. Thorn Dragon. Yu frowned and chose A. He really didn't need to think about this question. Back then, he really naively thought that Charizard and Gyarados were dragons. However, looking at the 4 pictures, Yu couldn't help but want to complain. Dragonfly, Shark, and Seahorse are all dragons, but the one that looks most like a dragon is not a dragon. Are you kidding me? 2. How many types of EV's evolutions are there? A. 3B. 4C. 5D. 6. Yu frowned. This question made his head hurt. There are 8 types in total, all wrong, but the news is not well informed now. C. Kanto City is inseparable. Sun elves and moon elves already know about it. Add thunder, fire, and water, it's just right. Scan the questions quickly. 31. The Tyrannosaurus Rex hit by the Flame Fist will receive times damage. A1 half B1 C2 D4. Yu chose A without hesitation. Tyrannosaurus Rex has both ground and rock attributes. Although its ground-based special moves can cause significant damage to fire-type Pokémon, it is not fire-resistant, while rock is fire-resistant, so the damage is only half. After finishing another 100 questions in one go, Yu took a breath and his eyes became more serious. Multiple choice questions and essay questions are onto sheets of paper. You must finish the multiple choice questions before you can do the essay questions. And there is only 60 minutes to complete 300 multiple choice questions. In other words, you have to do 5 questions in 1 minute on average. 1 question in 12 seconds. For those who react slowly, it is good enough to finish a question in 12 seconds, not to mention thinking about the special move attribute, the Pokémon attribute, and what the relationship represents. It can be said that speed is more important than accuracy. This is also the purpose of Pokémon School. During the battle, everything happens in a flash, relying on literacy and instinct. So this kind of sea of questions is used to ensure that every student passes the basic test. But having said that, it is not a human being, and it is really not a human being. Yu was the top student in the grade, but he never really finished the questions. For the last few dozen questions, he basically chose 3 long and 1 short. 3 short and 1 long, or simply chose C for all of them. An hour passed quickly, and everyone leaned back in their chairs, as if they had experienced a great battle. But before they could rest for long, the essay test papers were handed out again. Yu looked up at the questions. 1. How to make a Caterpie learn the following tricks. Choose 1 to describe. High speed movement, Iron Tail, Flame Wheel, Dream Talk. Yu quickly ticked the high speed movement, and then began to discuss. Generally speaking, different tricks will have different bonus points. Generally speaking, the bonus points for tricks with the same attributes are the lowest, because tricks with the same attributes are relatively easy to understand, while tricks with different attributes are more difficult. So you chose high speed movement with different attributes to describe. As for not choosing Iron Tail and Dream Talk, it was because you was not sure about this. Generally speaking, as long as Growlithe is not disabled and is not a fool, the two special moves of high speed movement and Fire Wheel can be learned, even without a trainer, but it will take much longer. However, Iron Tail and Dream Talk are different. Reality is not a game. In the game, as long as you have a learning machine, you can let Pokémon learn it. In reality, if you want to learn special moves, either the Pokémon is born with it, or it evolves, or it is acquired through training. If you want to just take a picture, then you are thinking too much. In reality, most Growlithes may not be able to learn Dream Talk in their entire lives. This really requires talent, not just thinking about it. After answering one question, he finished the next essay question. Yu was relieved and waited until the bell rang before he had time to go out and walk around. The school attaches great importance to the cultivation of personal talents, so it gives a lot of free time for students and Pokémon to enhance their relationship. Yu usually sleeps in and trains Pokémon at this time. However, the place is always the same, by the lake, riding a small fire horse. It is also one of the training projects to exercise the speed and endurance of the small fire horse. It's definitely not that Yu is lazy and doesn't want to walk. Chapter 5, Charging Flame Attack. Little Fire Horse, move at high speed, run at the fastest speed, and then use the flame wheel. Yu's stern voice sounded by the lake. Little Fire Horse ran at a high speed, and the speed increased, leaving a trail of after images and billowing smoke and dust by the lake. For Yu, training Ghastly is relatively simple, because there is a systematic training method in the family. Ghost Kyojin, the leading ghost Pokémon family in Kanto and even in the world, has a similar authority in ghost Pokémon as the Yulan family has in Dragon Pokémon. As for how to train ghost Pokémon, there is naturally a complete training system of its own. At present, the Yu family has training methods for all the ghost tricks that have been discovered in the world. So Yu doesn't have to rack his brains to think about it. He doesn't think that the training method that he, a rookie trainer, can come up with will be better than the training system that his family has been wise for hundreds of years and several generations. This is also the reason why the forkings of the alliances in various regions are still mostly from big families, even though a fair, just and open way has been adopted. Because people from big families can not only have Pokémon with good innate genes, but also provide them with the best Pokémon food, training facilities, etc. The key is that they have countless experiences left by their predecessors and know how to train the best for Pokémon's body without causing burden and affecting the future, as well as the discovery of special moves. People from poor families do not have strong initial Pokémon and cannot provide nutritious Pokémon food. More importantly, they do not know how many special moves are trained. In this case, to stand out, the qualifications must be several times higher than those from big families, and the efforts must be dozens of times more. So to train Ghastly, Yu only needs to follow the family's method, and then make individual minor adjustments according to Ghastly's situation, which is more suitable for Ghastly itself, and then it will be fine. But it is different for Little Fire Horse. For Little Fire Horse's training, he has to read books and materials, search for information on the internet, and discover himself. It's time. Flame Wheel. Little Fire Horse immediately burst into flames all over his body, turning into a ball of flame wheels, passing over the lake, leaving a scorch mark on the ground. Yu checked the stopwatch and looked at the time it took Little Fire Horse to run from school to here, the time it took to run 3000 meters at high speed, and the time it took to use the flame wheel 3 minutes, 53.5 seconds, 2.5 seconds. The speed from school remained the same, which was expected. After all, it takes a long time to increase the running speed. The time for high speed movement was shortened a bit, and the high speed movement was better mastered. The only thing was that the time it took to use the flame wheel was 2.5 seconds, which was a bit long. It was easy to be interrupted, and the combination of high speed movement and flame wheel was also long. It was not so convenient to fight. After a little contemplation, Yu snapped his fingers and looked at Little Fire Horse and said, "Little Fire Horse, how fast can you go when you combine high speed movement and flame wheel together?" Little Fire Horse tilted his head and confusion was revealed in his big eyes. "It was you who was timing, not me. You ask me? I mean, let's learn another trick. Instead of high speed movement and flame wheel, remember the feeling of using flame wheel after reaching the peak of high speed movement, or the feeling of using flame wheel and then suddenly increasing the speed." Yu said thoughtfully. "Two special moves are a bit laborious, so why not just reduce it to one special move? And coincidentally, this special move really exists. Energy storing flame attack. Attack the opponent with flames while increasing your own speed. Although in theory, the power is smaller than the flame wheel, and the speed is slightly lower than the high speed movement, but it wins in comprehensiveness. Especially in real life battles, the power of moves in books is often just a reference. In the game, a jet flame with a power of only 90 can fight against a water cannon with a power of 110, and it doesn't lose. Is this credible? In real life battles, there is something called proficiency. The Little Fire Horse nodded. "I understand this," and then he ran away with his hooves, and the wind and sand rolled. Constantly switch between high speed movement and the flame wheel to find the feeling of having two special moves at the same time. High speed movement plus the flame wheel make up a comprehensive low profile energy storing flame attack. If it is upgraded again, it can be upgraded to a fire type special move, Explosive Flame Electric Shock. Yu said. The Explosive Flame Shock, whose official name is Flare Charge, is very powerful. It is a special move of the same level as Pikachu's Volt Attack, but it has side effects and you have to bear the damage of the reaction force of the move. However, as we all know, as long as you shout "hold on, I believe you can do it, get up quickly," you can offset the damage of the reaction force. Yu believes that as Charmander is also a very strong Pokémon. "Charmander, come on, Ali Jen, you are the best." Yu made a gesture to cheer for Charmander. "Charmander, feeling that countless strength has been added to my body, I ran fast. I want to be the fastest horse in the world. The four hooves are flying, the eyes are like lightning, and the whole body is on fire." Many small Pokémon in the wild forest were frightened by the fiery red light and panicked, causing a riot. Ghastly on the side looked at the fanatical Charmander with contempt in his eyes. This silly horse is really stupid and naive. He didn't even discuss the conditions, but trained so actively. Don't you have to have fun in Yu's dream? At the worst, you have to have some delicious food. Bad review. How can I bargain with Yu like this? Garces, train hard. If you go to Sinnoh, I should be able to capture some Pokémon in the Sinnoh region. I need your help and train well. If you don't perform well, I will ask my aunt to send her Jenga here, or send you there. Yu looked at Ghastly and said. Ghastly's expression suddenly changed, and he looked horrified. "You are so shameless that you want to ask your parents? You can afford it or not." "I can't afford it." Yu laughed unscrupulously. He grew up with Ghastly since he was a child. Although he couldn't understand the words of the elves, he could basically get what Ghastly expressed accurately. And training with a champion level Jenga, Ghastly's strength will definitely be further improved. Looking at the expression of the unscrupulous trainer, Ghastly chose to surrender. The ghost energy on his body condensed, and a small energy bomb appeared, and then slammed into the water. Shadow Ball. It is considered an advanced trick of the ghost type. Generally speaking, at least Haunter can master it. But Haunter has good genes, which is a special case, but the level is not high enough, the power is not strong enough, and he is also lazy, so he has never used it. Now that Yu threatened his parents with his ultimate move, he had no choice but to work hard. Looking at the performance of the two Pokémon, Yu showed a satisfied smile. Perfect. Chapter 6 Ziksha Gang. Early in the morning, a fog filled the school. The fog was so thick that no one could be seen within 3 meters. A group of students began to train Pokémon. The simulation training of Pokémon School uses various black technologies to simulate various environments, and then let the trainers simulate battles in various environments. Garces, increase your control ability, and change the fog around you. Yu said. The thick fog blocks the vision, representing mysterious things, which has always been suitable for psychic Pokémon and ghost Pokémon. And it can perfectly train Ghastly's superpowers. Ghastly stuck out his tongue and struggled hard like a dead dog in order not to be caught by his mother. Ghastly is also very desperate. Pop, how can I complete the evolution? At this time, a stern voice sounded outside. Yu frowned, took out a pair of glasses, and put them on. Through the thick fog, 2 rays of light shot out, and saw several classmates surrounding a boy on a treadmill and asking questions. Once the boy couldn't answer the questions, the speed of the treadmill would be increased. Seeing this, Yu sighed helplessly. Excellent plan. Sunday led the training of some students with poor academic performance. Of course, it sounds good to say that it is training, but to put it bluntly, it is to use the name of training to show superiority and even bully some students with poor academic performance. Like the little chun on the treadmill now, he is the last in the class and has poor academic performance. Then, a group of guys started various trainings. To put it bluntly, it was for fun. However, Yu did not intervene. He could help for a while, but not for a lifetime, unless he also formed a small group and then formed gangs and fought, but he obviously would not do that. And to be honest, he felt that it would be more appropriate for the worst few to drop out of school. Although the Pokémon school said that there were students entering the league every year, it was only 1% or even lower. Most of the last ones had difficulty graduating. It was completely a waste of money to be here. It would be better to go out and challenge the gym. Although it was more dangerous, from the perspective of a trainer, only by experiencing hardships can one grow better and have greater opportunities. After all, the Pokémon with good qualifications, in addition to being controlled by the major families, are wild. Until a voice of injustice sounded, and then the figures of 3 guys appeared in front of him. One was wearing a hat and carrying a Pikachu that had never changed on his shoulders. Another had dark skin, as if he came from the desert. The last had short orange hair and very white skin, and looked like he dealt with water every day. Seeing this scene, Yu was stunned at first, and then the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Finally here, the childhood trio. Zixia Gang, the most classic, and it can be said to be the most perfect match. Then as expected, the 3 boys and girls with a sense of justice had a conflict with the few people who were looking for fun. Yu twisted his neck and gave Ghastly a look, and then one person and one pet went directly over. Zyozzy, long time no see. Yu, you are here. Zyozzy saw Yu and shouted excitedly. Of course, I go to school here, Yu said. Then come on, let's have a Pokémon duel. Zyozzy's eyes sparked. He was originally the type who wanted to duel when he saw a Pokémon trainer. Now that he saw an old acquaintance, his desire to fight was not ordinary, and he directly forgot about the guys in the training group. Duel? Yu showed an expression of disbelief. Although he was not very good, he could beat 10 of Zyozzy now. There was really no point in fighting. He calmly took out a bottle of ketchup from his pocket and opened it. Pikachu, who was originally looking around calmly on Zyozzy's shoulder, suddenly twitched his nose and stared at the ketchup in Yu's hand. Pikachu raised the corner of his mouth, revealing a bad smile, and took out french fries from another pocket, dipped them in ketchup, and handed them to Pikachu. Do you want to eat? Pikachu stretched out his cute little tongue, licked it, and his expression suddenly became cute, revealing a joyful cry pika carrot oh carrot. After seeing the increase in favorability, Yu calmly stretched out his hands to hug Pikachu, and then rubbed his face against Pikachu's cheek, tender, smooth, and comfortable. Pikachu instinctively resisted, but when he saw the bottle of ketchup, the 100,000 volts that were ready to go turned into 10 volts after it was used. The weak electric current stimulation greatly promoted Yu's health, and he was even happier. He touched Pikachu's 2 red electric bags and massaged him. Pikachu was very happy and completely relaxed. Zyozzy, who wanted to have a gorgeous battle, was stunned when he saw this scene. He looked at Pikachu and Yu's hand in disbelief. I'm your trainer? My Pokémon betrayed me before the battle started. What should I do? Is there any Pokémon master to teach me? Yu, do you know them? A boy from the special training group pointed at Yu. Yeah, what's wrong? Yu looked at the boy with dissatisfaction. Didn't he know that I was brushing Pikachu's favorability? He didn't have any eyesight at all. That means you are also very dissatisfied with our special training. Are you going to go against us? The boy shouted. I have beaten up your special training team leader Sunday several times. Do you think I'm against you? Besides, your special training, well, is really bad. After all, you are also bad, so the special training is naturally worse. Yu said. You are the bad one. The boy's face turned red with anger, and he took out a Pokémon ball from his waist. A red light flashed, and a mouth flower flew out. Let's have a Pokémon duel. Not interested. Yu said. I don't care, Yu. If you are not a coward, just duel with me openly. The boy, Yu tilted his head, really didn't want to pay attention, but it was annoying to ignore it. He looked at Sasaki and smiled and said, Sasaki, you fight him. If you beat him, I will fight you again. Okay. Sasaki nodded and looked at the man. Fight with me? What level are you? Are you qualified? The boy said with a proud face. Don't underestimate me. I have already got 2 gym badges. Sasaki proudly pulled his clothes to reveal the 2 badges on the inside. Only 2 badges? Not even the last in the class? The boy said with disdain. What did you say? Do you think it's easy to get to gym badges? Sasaki said. Of course it's easy. Nibby Gym and Cerulean Gym can be beaten with eyes closed. It's easy. 2 rubbish gyms. The boy said. What did you say? Cerulean Gym, what's wrong with it? Sasaki looked at the boy irritably. How dare he look down on Cerulean Gym? Sasaki, who always has a good temper, was also very angry. Scolding the gym in front of the former gym trainer is more excessive than pointing at a monk and scolding a bald donkey. What's not wrong? The boy asked back. Let's fight. Sasaki said angrily. Okay, I'll teach you a lesson. The boy was very proud. After that, the 3 special training group boys and Sasaki's 3 boys started a Pokémon battle without thinking. As the instigator, Yu sat quietly on the side, leaning against the tree, touching Pikachu's smooth and warm belly. So cute. Why not call home tonight and ask for a Pikachu? Cute and obedient. Although the combat power is not particularly outstanding, Pokémon is not just a tool for fighting. Appearance is justice. And it is relatively easy to get. There are as many Pokémon as stray dogs on the roadside. Chapter 7. This person is just a jerk. Pikachu, come here. Let's go. Sasaki suddenly shouted. Pikachu looked at the ketchup in his hand, then turned his head to look at Sasaki on the side, showing a pitiful expression. After a long while, he made up his mind, jumped out of Yu's arms, and walked towards Sasaki. Although this guy doesn't look very smart, he is also his trainer, so he has no choice. I'm leaving now. Yu showed a reluctant expression, and then stared at Sasaki with dissatisfaction. Can't you take other Pokémon? Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, any one of them can beat them. Yu was thinking about complaining, and suddenly saw that Sasaki only had 3 Pokéballs on his waist. He slapped his forehead, and remembered that Sasaki had just gone out. Not only is his command level a group of rookies, but there are also few Pokémon. In addition to Pikachu, there are only 2 Pidgeot and Butterfree. If Pikachu doesn't go, the combat power is a bit worrying. He Ghastly floated over and angrily showed his presence. It means that Yu also has Pokémon. But Yu just glanced at Ghastly, and then turned his head decisively. There is no harm without comparison. I didn't think there was anything wrong at first. But after playing Pikachu, looking at Ghastly again, it's better not to look at it. Ghastly is gifted with the ability to sense human emotions, and can absorb human fear as food, so it deeply sensed Yu's disgust at this moment, and suddenly widened its 2 white eyes, questioning Yu, as if saying, am I not cute? What about you promise to love me forever? You big pig's hoof. Yu picked up a mirror. What do you look like? Don't you have any ache in your heart? You run into my dreams in the middle of the night every day to scare me, and you tell me you look cute. Ghastly looked in the mirror. That group of purple ghosts, black body, blood red eyes, sharp fangs. Ah, how can it be so cute? This must be the most perfect masterpiece of God. Looking at Ghastly's narcissistic face, Yu leaned on the little fire horse beside him, hopeless. Pikachu, don't give up, hold on. At this moment, Sasaki suddenly roared, and his whole body burst out with a temperament called passionate fire. Yu, who was originally leaning on the little fire horse, exuding a lazy atmosphere all over his body, heard this sentence, and suddenly became energetic. His eyes glowed. Finally saw the legendary skill. Rejuvenation Roar. Once this skill is released, it ignores the state of the Pokémon, and directly enters a violent mode, adding a bloodlock buff, killing people and gods. Looking over, I saw the field. Pikachu, who was originally lying on the ground and dying, heard Zyos's heartfelt call, and it seemed that a divine power was injected into it. He immediately jumped up and rushed towards the opposite Korokora. Then he turned into a flash of lightning, suddenly went around Korokora's back, bit Korokora's tail, and gave Korokora a critical hit. Then, while Korokora was in pain, his two little hands kept hitting Korokora's face, and the last flying kick was over. Korokora KO. Yuyu's expression was colorful, worthy of being Zyos's special move. It was just awesome. Although it was not that there was no light when the skill was activated, it was definitely the three special moves of Bite, Crazy Scratching, and Flying Knee. It was indeed fighting Pikachu and Zio. Everything can fight ZHI. Lost. Pikachu won with a special move other than the electric type. Yuyu's expression was colorful, but the students of the Pokémon Academy who saw this scene for the first time felt that their worldviews had been shattered. Especially Sunday, who was dueling with Zyossi. That's right, she had come out to duel. The first three had been beaten. In order to find an opportunity to fight Yu, Sunday came out directly. Rhythm easily defeated Zyarksha and used 3-in-1 Magneto to defeat Onyx. Zyossi was already the last one. In the end, he lost. Using knowledge other than books to win? Is this also possible? The textbooks don't say that Pikachu can fight like this. Sunday doubted his life. If everything was done according to the textbook method, you wouldn't have been abused by me 3 times. Think more, discover more. Pokémon trainers rely on daily training. The strength of Pokémon is the key. The awesome ones can break 10 skills with one force. The second is to rely on showmanship. Yu put his hands in his pockets and made an official summary. Yu. Sunday looked at Yu with a thoughtful expression. Yu, let's fight. I'm the final winner. Zyossi said excitedly. Are you sure Pikachu still has physical strength? Yu said. Yes, as long as you have perseverance, you can overcome anything. Zyossi said excitedly, and Pikachu on the side also shouted passionately. Yuyu's expression was subtle. One of the unsolved mysteries of Pokémon is how much physical strength Pikachu has, 1 or 100. However, fighting with Zyossi now is really a waste of time. After thinking about it, he took out another French fry dipped in ketchup from his pocket and looked at Pikachu. You are very tired. You have no physical strength. Pikachu tilted his head cutely, eyes widened. I seem to still have strength. No, you don't. Yu shook the French fries. Pikachu fell to the ground gorgeously. Yes, I have no strength left. Okay, do you still want to fight? Yu looked at Zyossi and said. Zyossi was stunned. Fight? How to fight? Both Pidgeot and Butterfree have lost their combat ability, and Pikachu is playing tricks on me again. What should I do? Just when Zyossi didn't know how to develop, a net suddenly flew out from the sky, and Pikachu was caught and taken away. Who is it? Zyossi shouted anxiously. Then a strange yet familiar opening speech sounded in the sky. Since you ask sincerely, we will tell you mercifully. To prevent the world from being destroyed. To protect world peace. To implement love and true evil. A cute and charming villain. Musashi. Kajiro. We are Team Rocket traveling through the galaxy. White hole. A white tomorrow is waiting for us. That's it. Meow. A group of people looked up and saw a meow meow hot air balloon floating in the sky. Inside the basket, a man, a woman, and a meow meow were looking at Zyossi and his group proudly. It's you Team Rocket again. Zyossi was furious and wanted to send out his hard-working bird Pidgeot, but when he was about to throw it out, he remembered that Pidgeot had lost its combat ability and could only be anxious. Don't even think about leaving. Although the Sunday group was a little arrogant and superior, they were not bad at heart. They threw out a group of Pidgeots, toucans, and Beedrills to burst the balloon. Cousin, long time no see. At this time, Yu also raised his head and said to Kojiro, "That's right, cousin." Kojiro is Yu's cousin. Yu's mother is the eldest daughter of the previous generation of the Sasaki family. Kojiro, the heir of the Sasaki family, is naturally his cousin. "Ah, Yu, why are you here?" Kojiro was surprised to see Yu here and almost fell in the hot air balloon. Others were also shocked. Whether it was the people from the Pokémon Academy or Musashi Miyawa, it was hard to imagine that Yu had a relationship with the Rocket Team's little leader. "Because I go to school here. Cousin, give me some face and put down Pikachu," Yu said with a smile. In fact, he was not worried that Kojiro would really take Pikachu away. Not to mention that there are so many Pokémon here, even if there is no one, they can't take Pikachu away. Yu is very confident in the ability of his cousin. If you say that he blows up the Alliance headquarters one day, Yu will not be surprised. But if you say that he captures Pikachu and gives it to Sasaki, Yu will live broadcast how to practice the Sunflower Manual. It's just that they are relatives after all, and they have a good relationship. When they were young, they took a lot of blame for themselves, and they don't want him to be beaten. Anyway, they have to be returned. Why must they be beaten? Kojiro hesitated. If it was just him, he would really agree, but obviously, this was not his decision alone. "No, Kojiro, even if he is your cousin, there is no room for negotiation. This is to be handed over to the boss. This is the best opportunity for us to upgrade Takadas." Musashi decisively rejected it. But Kojiro still hesitated. "You idiot, forget it, let's go." Meow Meow went up and grabbed wildly to wake Kojiro up. "We are villains, how can we return the spoils?" "Sorry, Yu, see you next time." Kojiro covered his face and said while enduring the pain. Yu sighed and said, "Garrett's break." Ghastly and stood instantly, sped up suddenly, and crossed the hot air balloon in an instant. A shadow ball exploded, and the hot air balloon exploded with a bang. The two Pokémon fell to the ground at the same time. Yu shook his head. As everyone knows, the defense of Meow Meow's hot air balloon is almost negligible except for the anti-electricity. And now it is only Kanto, and it is not even anti-electric. The anti-electricity probably started after Johto. He ghastly untied Pikachu's restraints and floated to Yu with a smug look on his face, as if to say, "This is strength." Yu took a look and responded, then walked to the wreckage of the hot air balloon, looked at the embarrassed trio, and said, "How does it feel to fall from it?" He didn't listen to being knocked down, and insisted on being knocked down. This person is just a jerk. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8, The Ruthless Trio. Cousin, we didn't do it on purpose. Kojiro, who fell down, said in a flattering manner. He had to flatter. There were only 3 of them, and if you counted Arbok and Gas Bomb, there were 5 of them. There were 20 or 30 people on the other side, not counting the Pokémon. It was either intentional or deliberate. Come, let's talk about how to send you to Lumigia. I didn't want to catch you. After all, a bounty of several million is not a big sum for me, but you insisted on doing this, and I can't do anything about it. No matter how small a mosquito leg is, it is still meat, and millions are still money. Yu said with a smile. Lumigia. Kojiro's eyes widened, and every pore of his body was emitting fear. Millions of bounties? Musashi and Meow Meow seemed to have opened the door to a new world. They turned their heads to look at Kojiro. He was actually worth millions? One person and one Meow looked at each other. Sell him? Is it right? Yes. This young master, do you want to exchange Kojiro for a bounty of several million? If necessary, I can help. Meow. Meow Meow's eyes turned into copper coins. Yes, master, whatever you need, we can cooperate, said Musashi. Kojiro twisted his neck. What are you doing? Isn't our friendship worth millions? Yu looked at Musashi and Meow Meow and fell into deep thought. The 3 who didn't cooperate were mainly Musashi and Meow Meow, and Kojiro was just an accomplice. But now, how come it seems like a reward for these 2 guys? This script is wrong. Change the script and torture them well. But how to punish? All the things on the bodies of these two families are not as valuable as a hair of their own. A piece of biscuit has to be shared by 3 people. If you ask them for compensation, you probably won't have much hope in this life. Forget it. It's too troublesome to think about these things. Zayahoma, send Musashi and Meow Meow to heaven. Yu said, it was also sad to meet such a group of robbers. There was no desire to fight back against the robbery, and you couldn't just beat them to death. It's too difficult to be a human being. Being a villain and being so poor is really useless. No, tell us where Kojiro's home is first. Musashi and Meow Meow struggled and then heard a horse neigh, and then they were hit into the sky and turned into 2 meteors. Then they chatted in the sky. How many millions will Kojiro be sold for? We tried hard to sell him, but we don't know his home. Meow. It's okay. Torture will always find out. Yes, sell Kojiro, make a fortune, and enter the wealthy class. Meow 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 looked intoxicated. What a happy feeling, even though it's still in heaven. Yu frowned. If he heard it right, the voices coming from the wind seemed to be happy voices. These 2 guys, one has a stronger physique than 10 men under the appearance of a woman, and the other is not a human at all. It's normal that the brain circuit is abnormal with normal people. Then it's you, my good cousin. I'll give you 3 minutes to think about what can impress me, otherwise you will bear the consequences. Yu said. Zayajiro looked at Yu and pondered for 3 seconds, then took a deep breath, looked at Yu and slowly exhaled, then surrendered like a tiger on the ground, kneeling at Yu's feet, hugging Yu's thighs and saying, cousin, no, boss, I'm also pitiful. I don't want to get married. I don't want to live an upper class life. No etiquette. I want freedom. I want to live without restraint every day. Please have pity on me. I'm very pitiful. As he spoke, he was crying and snotting, and it can be said that anyone who heard it was sad and cried. Even Zayaaksha, who had never liked Zayajiro, rarely showed a sympathetic expression at this time. Yu lowered his head, and there was no sympathy in his heart, but he was very happy. After all, he knew the cause and effect of this matter clearly, and it was all Zayajiro's own fault. When he was a child, at the banquet, he saw that Lumigia was beautiful, and he was tempted by her beauty. Oh no, love at first sight. He was greedy for her body, and he thought about proposing to her before he knew her. As a result, when he touched her, he found that she was completely unacceptable. The appearance of a lady, the heart of a queen, holding a whip from time to time, so she got scared and ran away from home. But the reason for this is that you are greedy for her body? You are cheap. But seeing that he cried so sadly and made me so happy, I will spare his life for the time being. Yu thought about it, took out tens of thousands of yuan from his pocket and threw it to Zaojiro, saying, consider it my support for you. Go quickly. If you don't leave, you may really not be able to leave. Money. Zaojiro's eyes lit up, took the money, and said ecstatically, cousin, I love you. You will be my second parents in the future. As he said that, Zaojiro ran away in a flash, and every pore of his body was filled with joy. Yu shook his head. He was really uninhibited and loved freedom. Zaojiro, is your family rich? Zio-zhi asked puzzledly. If you can get millions of yuan as a bounty, you must be rich. But if you are so rich, why do you come to rob his Pikachu? Isn't it the same as the number of stray dogs on the roadside? Do you think our school is big? Yu asked. Zio-zhi turned his head and looked at the magnificent European-style building and nodded decisively. It was very big. His doghouse is this big. Yu said calmly. What? Zio-zhi, Zio-aksha, and Zio-gang lost control of their expressions instantly. The 3 of them added up. It was not even 1/10 the size of this school, and Kojiro's doghouse was this big. So they are not even as good as Kojiro's dog. Don't be jealous. Don't be surprised. This is fate. Yu said. Zio-zhi, Zio-gang, and Zio-aksha sighed, and then suddenly remembered that the guy next to them was Kojiro's cousin, and his family was also very rich. Suddenly, they felt that everything was meaningless, silently picked up their bags, and left in the sunset. A child who can't stand the blow. Yu sighed, then turned around, and prepared to continue training. The midterm exam is coming, and you have to work hard. Go to the Sinnoh region to take a good look. And it's not long before the Quartz conference. Work hard to graduate and take part in it. By the way, ask my family for another Pikachu or Eevee. It's so cute. If it evolves into a fire elf, it can also keep warm. When you go camping, you don't have to worry about the cold at night. As the most special creatures in this world, Pokemon's role is definitely not just fighting. They are more of a partner in life. For example, when Ghastly lurks in the shadow of a human, it will instinctively absorb some of the temperature from the human body. So, in the hot summer, it's so comfortable. No matter how hot the weather is, you can always feel cool and don't have to worry about catching a cold from overusing the air conditioner. Because Ghastly will help him control the temperature. Sunday stayed alone with a thoughtful look on his face. He didn't need the knowledge in books to win. Pikachu used fighting skills. Is this the true meaning of Pokémon duels? Don't I know Pokémon well enough? How do I command Pokémon? Chapter 9 midterm exam is coming. Everyone is quiet, do the questions seriously, no whispering, and the test papers will be distributed now. In the examination room of the Pokémon school, the invigilator distributed the test papers. Yu wrote down his name in a flamboyant manner, and then picked up the pen to answer the questions. 1. How many heads does the double bomb gas have? A. 1B. 2C. 3D. 2 or 3. Yu was stunned. It was a great start. This question looks very simple. Even if most people have never seen the double bomb gas, they will think normally. Double bomb gas. Double. If it is not double, why is it called double bomb? And those who have seen the double bomb gas will also choose 2. But in fact, this is wrong. The double bomb gas, which feeds on garbage toxic gas, has 3 heads. It's just that the probability is very low. Compared with this, Flash is considered common. If it weren't for the fact that his aunt was a poison master, Yu would have gotten this question wrong. So he definitely chose D after that. He answered questions all the way, entered the God of War state, and wrote one by one. Time passed by, and all the students racked their brains to answer the questions. Many students who couldn't answer the questions were so angry that they grabbed their hair and stamped their feet, but it was useless. After a long time, the bell for the end of the exam rang, and Yu and his group of students collapsed on their chairs powerlessly. Then, those who usually had good grades had sad expressions on their faces and kept saying that they didn't do well in the exam. Those with average grades were jubilant, thinking that 60 points would pass, and 1 more point would be a waste, as they would definitely pass. They were thinking about where to go after the exam. The last ones were almost the same as the best ones, as if they had lost their parents. Yu stretched his body, but didn't say that he didn't do well in the exam. The key point was that he had offended the big sister Sunday, and no one in the college would chat with him, so he had no chance to show off. He walked to the call room and made a video call to his home. Not long after, an elegant lady appeared on the screen, and when she saw Yu, a happy expression appeared on her face. Xiao, why did you think of calling home today? The midterm exam is over today. Although the results haven't come out yet, I should be in the top 3, so I guess I will go to Sinnoh to participate in Professor Mustard Orchid's archaeological expedition. Tell mom. Yu said. Going to Sinnoh? The lady's expression frowned immediately. Yuyu's grandfather died in a ruin in Sinnoh. That place is an ominous place for Yuyu's family. Yes, it's rare to learn from Professor Mustard Orchid. I think it's good. And it's also considered a cross-regional tour. It's nice to go to Sinnoh to have fun, Yu said. Then pay more attention to safety. The lady thought for a while and said, although it's a bit taboo, but her son is going to learn not to protect like his father-in-law, so nothing should happen. Don't worry, I will pay attention. I'm a professional in saving lives. By the way, mom, Pikachu, did you get me one? Yu asked. Not yet, I'm choosing a suitable one. It takes some time. The lady said. Does this take a lot of time? Aren't there a lot of Pikachus? Yu asked curiously. There are many, but there are relatively few with good qualifications. You are the representative of this generation of our family. How can the Pokémon you use be bad? Even if it is Pikachu, you have to examine the strength gene bloodline of its parents for 3 generations. Without a superstar father, mother, or grandparents, how can it be qualified to be your Pokémon? The lady said as a matter of course. Well, mom, I just want to raise it for fun. There is no need to be so serious. You said, there are not so many requirements. If the requirements are so strict, there are really very few Pikachus that meet the requirements. It's okay, I will choose carefully for you, and do a check, and find some Pokémon with superstar bloodlines. If you need them, I will get them for you. Although our family is a ghost family, we can't have all Pokémon as ghosts. In this case, with ghost temperament, it will be difficult to find a girlfriend. I still expect you to give me grandchildren. The lady said indifferently. Mom, I'm just a little over 10 years old. You said. You can get married at the age of 13, but you only have 3 years. Besides, you are in the second month, so you are no different from an 11-year-old. Come on. Mom, I have something to do here. I'll hang up first. You didn't know how to pick up the topic, so he chose to give up. That's it. Every time you talk about this topic, you hang up the phone. Look at how capable Professor Oak's grandson Xiaomao is. He has 6 girlfriends. Yu's mother looked at Yu with regret. Mom, women only affect the speed of my commanding Pokémon. Yu said righteously. You're very strong just because you're single. If you're really capable, don't stay in the Pokémon Academy, go travel. Mom, are you saying that the academy is not good? This is your family's? Yu said. Come on, don't you know about this situation? After studying for so long, what kind of bird of prey can be raised in a greenhouse? Which of the 4 heavenly kings today is not traveling around the world and having adventures? Every Pokémon master is essentially a brave and fearless adventurer, fearless and courageous. The official roads for the league trainers to travel are all opened up by this group of people. How dare you blow up the propaganda about the Pokémon Victory Guide School? And so many people believe it? You asked curiously. When the school was first established, we wanted to enrich students' knowledge of Pokémon and let them be fully prepared before participating. After all, there are many league conferences. After graduation, they will challenge other leagues. At the beginning, the effect was remarkable, and half of the top 8 in the conference were qualified. But later, a group of wealthy families came in with connections and kept spending money, and the nature of the school changed. In particular, there was an accident. A student was chased by a bear and almost died, and the school was almost closed. So from then on, it was just a paper talk, with theory as the main and simulation as the supplement. There is such a thing. Yu was surprised. He really didn't know about this past. Now that fewer people know about this, you naturally don't know. In fact, the current school is just a kindergarten class. Relying on methods, you can pile up to almost advanced trainers, and then nominally be elite trainers, and participate in the Quartz conference, to fill the number of people. What is the must-win? If you don't promote it like this, how can you recruit students? Advertising slogans are just for listening. Then why did you send me here, Mom? You asked curiously. You know the situation in our family. There was only your great aunt in the previous generation, and there are only your father and your younger aunt in this generation. But your younger aunt never gets married. I guess she will be like your great aunt in the future. In our family, you are the only one in the next generation. And in your uncle's family, there is only your eldest cousin. If your eldest cousin doesn't come back, your uncle still expects you to have a child and adopt him. What do you say you will do if you have an accident? Living well and carrying on the family line is your biggest task. I don't ask you to work hard, because money and other things have been prepared for you. All roads lead to Rome, and you have already reached Rome by being born. Wait until I, your mother, give birth to 10 or 8 children, and then you can do whatever you want. Mom, I haven't spoiled me yet, and you're already thinking about raising a younger one. If you really want to raise one, why don't you give me a younger brother or sister? You complained. If giving birth to you wasn't too tiring, I would have done it a long time ago. So it depends on you to work hard, learn from Xiaomao, and find a few more girlfriends. Anyway, our family can afford them. Like the Sunday in your school is good. Hurry up and catch him. At most, it's bigamy. You will go to jail for a few years. It's okay. Our family has connections and we can even let you stay in a VIP cell in the prison. Mom, you didn't see it wrong. It's Sunday. You can't even open your mouth. No way. You are a master of tea art at such a young age. Forget it. You said. Speaking of this, I still want to say something about you. I asked you to come here, to let you get in touch with the society. Although our family doesn't need to rely on anyone, we still have to build some necessary relationships. However, after you went there, you didn't do anything from beginning to end, and you don't have a single friend. They come to mess with me, don't blame me. And you said, I was born in Rome, why am I so tired? You said. Okay, whatever you want, but I have a friend who wants to send her daughter to a Pokémon school. Probably when you come back from your trip, you must take good care of her, and don't let her be bullied. Yu's mother solemnly warned. I'll try my best. I'll beat up anyone who bullies her. But, Mom, your friends are either rich or noble, so the probability of being bullied is also very small. You said. Generally speaking, yes, but this is an exception. She is shy and afraid of contacting Pokémon. Ah, afraid of contacting Pokémon? And she came to Pokémon school? Mom, don't tease me. You stared. I read a lot of books, don't lie to me. But she likes Pokémon. Yu's mother also looked helpless. She couldn't do anything about this. Like Pokémon, but dare not touch it. What's wrong with it? Who is so hypocritical? Mom, why don't you beat her up? What's the point of being hypocritical? A beating can basically solve it. You said. She's a girl, don't be rude to me, otherwise I will definitely beat you. The lady said affirmatively. Girl? Is she pretty? You asked. It looks good. Yu's mother nodded. Then liking Pokémon, but not touching them, well, that's pretty cute too. You said. Upon hearing this, the lady gave him a look. If it wasn't her own child, she would have scolded him. She didn't know where to start with 1,000 words, so she could only say one sentence. Remember, take good care of it for me. No problem. By the way, what's her name? You asked. Lily. The lady said. Oh, Lily. You nodded, hung up the phone, and stood up. Suddenly, he realized that he liked Pokémon, but didn't dare to touch it. It was a cute girl named Lily. Isn't this the heroine of Alala? Why did she come to Kanto? Chapter 10 Sirona. Classmates, this is Sinnoh, a region with many different Pokémon from our Kanto. Sinnoh Airport. The head teacher, Sajo, who was in charge of the team, said to the 9 students. There were a total of 12 teachers, 24 teaching assistants, and 9 students who got the top 3 in the elementary, intermediate, and advanced classes who came to Sinnoh this time. Teacher, when can we meet Professor Mustard or Kit? Sunday asked excitedly. The test results were no different from the past, and basically the top 3 were fixed. The results of the elementary class were Yu first, Sunday second, and Tanako third. Soon, as agreed, they will come to pick up at the airport. Sajo said. The address of the ruins this time was on the land of the Sasaki family. So the Alliance and the Sasaki family jointly developed it, and both parties jointly owned the information. Then the Sasaki family asked the academy to come. Is it Yuto Pokémon Academy? At this time, a sweet voice sounded, and a blonde queen in black came over and said, it's Sirona. When the students of the Pokémon Academy saw the object, they immediately screamed with joy, and their eyes shone with shining stars, just like fans who saw their idols. Yu looked at the reactions of the group of people, and couldn't help but secretly gasp. Although he also wanted to meet Sirona in person, this was too exaggerated. Yes, you are Miss Sirona, right? I'm Zeduo Cheng, the leader of the Yuteng Pokémon Academy this time. Just as Yu was sighing, Zeduo Cheng subconsciously tidied his clothes, then showed a gentle smile, and walked towards Sirona, extending his hand. Hello. Sirona shook hands with Zeduo Cheng. When I saw the photos, I admired Miss Sirona's charming style. I didn't expect that after meeting. Sirona's charm far surpassed the photos. Zeduo Cheng sighed sincerely. Yu turned his head. You were not like this when you were in school. You acted like a black-faced god every day. Are you flirting with me now? Take this video and post it online. I don't know if it will get any hits. Sirona smiled slightly and responded to Zeduo Cheng in a murmur, leading them away. When she saw a few people selling ice cream at the airport gate, her eyes suddenly lit up slightly, but after looking at Zeduo Cheng and the others, She put down her hobby and continued to walk forward. However, Zeduo Cheng noticed this delicately and said, "Miss Sirona, do you like ice cream? If you want, go buy it. We'll wait for a while. It's okay." "That's not good. We have to go to the ruins quickly." Sirona hesitated. "It doesn't matter. It's just a little time. Miss Sirona, just choose the most delicious one." Zeduo Cheng smiled gentlemanly. "Then thank you, Mr. Zeduo Cheng." Sirona smiled happily and ran to the front of the stall. "It's so beautiful." Zeduo Cheng sighed and suddenly found that he was in love. So stupid. Just when Zeduo Cheng sighed, Yu sighed at the same time. "Yu, what do you mean?" Zeduo Cheng lowered his head and said, "Have you really never checked out Sharona? Go to the Pokémon League beauty website, okay? There are detailed information about outstanding single female trainers in the past 10 years, including their hobbies, family background, and body measurements. Before you pick up girls, check the information first." Yu said. "Let Sharona go to buy ice cream with a choice disorder. Don't think about leaving in a few hours. There is also this website. How come I don't know about it?" Zeduo Cheng said in surprise. "You don't know? Oh, I forgot. It's the membership system. You're poor." Yu suddenly reacted and said. Zeduo Cheng turned his head, his face dark, and his eyes stared at Yu. "Say it again. Don't think that you are the nephew of a shareholder, so I dare not confront you. After all, I'm also your cousin across 18 bends. Okay, I will share the information with you, although the possibility of you picking up a girl is not great. After all, Sharona's family is quite powerful, and she is really awesome, younger than you, prettier than you, stronger than you, and her family background is better than yours." Yu patted Zeduo Cheng on the shoulder and said, "Skip this topic and talk about Sharona. What's wrong with her buying ice cream?" Zeduo Cheng's face twitched every time Yu said a word, and he spoke for a long time. "How about we make a bet? If Sharona can come back within 20 minutes, I will not cause trouble for you for 3 months, and I will share some exclusive information with you. If Sharona doesn't come back within 20 minutes, you will ignore me and not tell my mother about it within 3 months." Yu said. "Deal." Zeduo Cheng agreed after a little hesitation. How could it take 20 minutes to buy an ice cream? Miss Sharona has won several championships. It is impossible for her to be so hesitant. Yu raised the corner of his mouth, revealing a crook-mouthed Dragon King smile. "You are doomed to lose." 20 minutes later, Sharona did not come back. Yu looked at Zeduo Cheng proudly, and Zeduo Cheng lowered his head like a frustrated rooster. Yu smiled triumphantly and walked towards the ice cream stand. He saw Sharona staring at 3 flavors of ice cream and hesitating. She kept scanning and was undecided. She whispered, "Strawberry flavor is good, vanilla flavor is not bad, chocolate flavor is also okay. Which one?" Yu rolled her eyes. If she didn't know, she would never believe that this would be the future champion of the Sinnoh region. She sighed, threw a stack of money from her pocket, threw it to the stall owner and said, "I'll buy all the ice cream you have here." "Sold." "Thank you." The stall owner saw the big stack of banknotes in Yu's hand and was immediately ecstatic. This was completely beyond the price of this stall of ice cream. He took the banknotes and ran away. "You don't have to buy so much," Sharona said. She didn't want to buy all of them. "If you are still so entangled in buying things in the future, you can really have them all. If the choice is difficult, don't choose. As for whether you can finish it or not, that's a small matter. Anyway, you don't care about the money, and there are still a group of people," Yu said. "That's right." Sharona's eyes lit up. "What's your name?" "Yu. The great nephew of the king of Chrysanthemum." Sharona's eyes lit up. "That's right." Yu shrugged, helplessly troubled. "With a very famous aunt. His name is just an embellishment. How strong is the Pokémon? How about we have a battle?" Sharona said. "I just got it this year. I'm very weak." Yu said without thinking. He lives in a top family and has received top training since he was a child. His command level is almost elite, but Pokémon is only advanced, and Sharona, if I guessed correctly, should become the champion by the end of this year. So, now the worst is also a top king. The gap in strength is so big. Is it a competition? That's asking for abuse. No, it's asking for slaughter. Oh. Sharona nodded, almost forgetting her age. If it's so weak, then there's nothing to fight. She is not interested in bullying. Chapter 11 Absol. After leaving the airport, Yu and his group got on a bus and headed towards their destination. Zeduo Cheng surrounded Sharona and showed his courtesy, but it was a pity that Sharona completely ignored him and enjoyed the delicious ice cream at ease. A group of students began to watch the information of this investigation. Although they had already seen it on the plane, they still had to watch it a few more times at this time to avoid making a fool of themselves. Yu was bored and also watched the information this time. The ruins investigated this time were accidentally shaken out by a small earthquake. According to the field survey, the building is at least 3,000 years old and may even be earlier. And from the information, it seems to be related to the creation myth of SYNOPSIS. So Professor Mustard Orchid and Sharona, the experts in mythology and historical archaeology, were blown out. Yu was thoughtful. If it is related to the mythical beast, it may be able to answer a long-standing doubt of Yu. What kind of combat power does the mythical beast have? Pokémon with a racial value of 580 or above, without the third stage of evolution, are generally called mythical beasts, creatures standing at the top of the Pokémon food chain. In various fanfictions, they are so amazing that they can destroy the world. If the male protagonist finds one or two mythical beasts, he can fight against the world, the earth, and the alliance. But fanfiction can only be used as a general reference. Games, animations, and comics are more authoritative. But in these, the strength of the mythical beasts fluctuates. In games, levels, and tactics determine everything. The mythical beasts can also be solved by wheels, and the cliff sword can't really not be able to hit a Pidgeot. Don't think that people can't fly, so they can't hit flying ones. Then in comics, the little boar can fight against Ho-Oh. In animation, the fluctuation is even greater. In the official animation, in the awesome state, Groudon and Kyogre return from the ancient times and almost destroy the home continent. The Aqua Fleet and the Magna Team have retired from the arena. In the low-key state, the Orange Islands caught the three mythical birds alone and beat Lugia. Giratina was almost captured by one person, and Zygarde in the Kalos region was almost controlled. The main plot of each animation and theatrical version is basically that the villain catches the first level mythical beasts, and the protagonist goes to rescue them. The first level mythical beasts are actually not very impressive. Yu asked Kikuko, but Kikuko didn't say anything. She told him to find out for himself. Maybe this was a chance. While thinking all the way, suddenly, the car braked suddenly. Yu's head almost hit the front seat. He said dissatisfiedly, "What's the matter?" Someone suddenly ran out in front. The driver explained innocently. Yu stood up and looked straight ahead. He saw a group of people running in front of the car, chasing with hose and shovels in their hands. In front of them, a pure white Pokémon was running vigorously. Absol. Yu looked at the Pokémon being chased and read out its name. The legendary disaster beast, with an unfortunate curse, will bring disaster to people once it appears, so it is driven into the mountains by people, and is a precious Pokémon that rarely appears in front of people. Sunday also stood up, looked at Absol outside the window, and read out what he learned in school. Unfortunate curse? It's just feudal superstition. Do you believe it? Yu said. Absol is born with the ability to sense disasters. Because of its kindness, it will warn nearby residents and inform them of the coming of disasters. Therefore, every time you see Absol, you will see disasters. But disasters do not occur because of Absol. The relationship between the two needs to be clarified. Pokémon have special abilities. For example, some Jengars have cursed effects. If you get close to them, you will be cursed. There are also night dark demons who can communicate with the spirit world, and Arcray will give nightmares to humans who get close to it. Ghost and evil types are very special in themselves. Sunday retorted. The study of Pokémon has always been an eternal topic since its birth, especially the three types of psychic, ghost, and evil. They have some special abilities that ordinary Pokémon do not have, and no one dares to say that they can study them thoroughly. Hundreds of years ago, whenever someone was about to die, a group of Murkrows would descend, so people thought Murkrows were messengers of death and instinctively hated Murkrows. However, 15 years ago, Professor Oak published a paper on humans and Pokémon, clearly stating that Murkrows flew here only because people were about to die and their bodies began to emit a rotten smell, so Murkrows came. Human death has nothing to do with Murkrows. You did not argue with Sunday, but said calmly, you want to say that Absol came because of the disaster, not because Absol brought the disaster. Sharona wiped the ice cream on her mouth with a tissue. That's right. You nodded and was about to speak, but suddenly noticed a strong energy fluctuation on the side, and a powerful vacuum wave hit Absol. Gas, break. You said without thinking. Although Absol was Snow White, it was a Pokémon of the evil type, and the vacuum wave attack of the fighting type had significant damage. He really couldn't stand a kind reminder, but was struck by lightning. Especially when the Pokémon was struck by lightning. Hehe, a bad laugh sounded, and a ghost suddenly emerged from Yu's shadow, then flew directly through the window, and flew in front of Absol, and a shadow ball offset the vacuum wave. Absol jumped up the hillside and saw Ghastly suddenly appear with a hint of doubt in his eyes, but soon jumped up and disappeared from sight. Where did you come from? An angry voice sounded, and a yellow-haired boy was seen commanding a Gardevoir, looking at Ghastly with an angry face. Ghastly ignored him and turned back to the car. The boy was dissatisfied and shouted directly at the car. The trainer of this Ghastly, come down quickly. Do you know how much trouble it has caused us? How much effort we have spent to capture Absol? I don't know, and I'm not interested in knowing. I only know that you almost made our car flip over, and you didn't even apologize. Your quality is really good. And when did the league allow a group of people to chase Pokémon with sticks and then capture them? You said. What do you know? We are capturing, not taming. Absol is a disaster beast and needs to be driven away, said the yellow-haired boy. It is illegal to capture Pokémon that do not harm humans without reason. As a Pokémon trainer, you are actually breaking the law. It's ridiculous. You said disdainfully. What did you say? The yellow-haired boy was immediately furious and was about to command a powerful attack. Nero, don't be rude. This is Grandma's guest. Sharona also spoke up, and it seemed that she knew the visitor. Cousin, why are you here too? Are they from that Pokémon school? The yellow-haired boy Nero asked curiously. That's right, you, the nephew of the Kanto Ghost King Kiku. Sharona introduced. Although she was a little bit angry about this little cousin running around and causing her to not eat a good ice cream, she always loved her cousin. There was nothing she could do. The great nephew of the king, no wonder he is so arrogant. But so what? It's still their fault. They let Absol run away. Do you know how much trouble this will cause? It's a disaster beast. It will bring disaster. If it is not solved, there will be trouble here, and then our research will also be in trouble. Nero shouted. Although he knew that Yu had an extraordinary family background, he didn't care. First, he was young and didn't have as many ideas as adults. Second, his family background was also very impressive. It was in the Sinnoh region, which had nothing to do with Kanto. There was no contact between them, so if they offended it, they offended it. Yes, it's a disaster beast. What if it runs away and causes greater danger? We can't let that disaster beast run away. After Nero finished speaking, a group of people behind him also shouted. They were villagers living near here. They used to live a peaceful life, but when Absol came, there were all kinds of dangers. It must be Absol's problem. Shut up. You keep calling him a disaster beast. Do you really understand Absol? You shouted angrily. Who told you that this is all Absol's fault? It has been said so since ancient times. How can it be wrong? A villager shouted. It has been right since ancient times, right? Merchants have always been lowly. Tell the rich that they are lowly. Yu said. The villager was so embarrassed by Yu's words that his face turned red and he was speechless. Chapter 12. Battle against Nero. The ruins are not far from here, right? Yu looked at Sharona and said. That's right. Sharona said. Otherwise Nero and the others would not have come here. It was because Absol was nearby, which might affect the ruins. So these things happened. That means the ruins will also be affected. That's right. The ruins were originally caused by an earthquake, so it's normal to be a little dangerous. Yu muttered, took out his mobile phone, called, and the call was connected after a while, and said, Uncle Len, you are responsible for the ruins, right? Yes, you will come soon. Uncle Len is busy today, so don't be surprised. But having a beautiful woman like Sharona to pick you up is better than me picking you up. A cheerful voice of a middle-aged man came from the phone. It's not because of this that I'm looking for you, but since you are here, please check if there are any problems nearby. Since Absol is here, it means that a disaster is about to happen here. Yu said. Then don't we just drive Absol away? Dr. Mr. Dorkid and the others have sent people to solve it. The middle-aged man said. You can check online to see when the disaster will be lifted naturally after Absol is driven away. It's not that Absol comes and there is a disaster, but Absol comes only after the disaster. Yu said. Zio, are you sure? This is not a joke. Dr. Fenglin said that it's enough to drive Absol away. Uncle Les said. This is what Dr. Oak told me. Yu said. Drive Oak said. Okay, I'll arrange it right away. After hearing this, Uncle Les agreed without saying a word and prepared to take action. As for Dr. Fenglin, is he as authoritative as Dr. Oak? No, what he said is nonsense. Feeling the two completely different treatments, Yu quietly put away his phone. Sure enough, when a person is small, his words are not enough, and he still has to talk nonsense. Dr. Oak, I'm sorry, I'll let you take the blame. Next time I will express 2 boxes of instant noodles to make up for it. Putting the phone in his pocket, Yu looked at the group of people and said, instead of nagging me, why don't you go check if there are any disasters near you and then solve them? Now wait for the result. Teacher Zeduo Cheng, you handle it. After that, he went back to sleep. Zeduo Cheng rolled his eyes. You little brat, who do you think you are? Just let me handle it. A group of villagers were inexplicably shocked by Yu, and it took them a while to react. Who the hell are you? Just let us wait for the result. They immediately made a commotion and demanded an explanation. Zeduo Cheng sighed. He had to deal with it. After all, he was the team leader. Throwing out 2 treasure balls, 2 red lights flashed, and suddenly a ferocious circle bear and a burly armored Tyrannosaurus appeared on Zeduo Cheng's left and right like 2 guardians. Then, Sajo and his 2 pets, with 6 eyes, looked at the group of people and said, we are the teachers and students of Kanto Pokémon School. We came here to investigate the ruins. At the same time, helping people in need is also the duty of our teachers and students. Everyone, please be patient and don't worry. We will investigate the matter and help you solve it. A group of villagers looked at the 2 big Kangs on Sajo's left and right, looking at each other, as if thinking, if they disagreed, they would be beaten to death on the spot. Then a group of villagers thought about it, looked at Nero, and let him decide. Originally, everyone didn't think there was any problem. He said that Absol had a problem, and then rejected a bunch of examples, so everyone believed it. Now that he was stopped, you decide. Cousin, do you want to believe that little brat? Absol has a problem. This is what Dr. Fenglin said. Nero also came out without hesitation. I won't speak on things that I haven't investigated, but if it is what Dr. Oak said, I think it should be true. And whether it is caused by Absol or not, since Absol is here, it means that there must be a problem here, so solve the problem first. Sharona said. Although she is from SYNOPSIS, she naturally knows the name of Professor Oak from Kanto. Professor Oak is a well-deserved authority in the study of Pokémon. In the current academic world, if he is ranked first, there must be some controversy, but if he is ranked second, then no one can be ranked first. Professor Fenglin is a doctor of Cynomythology. In terms of Pokémon, he is not at the same level as Professor Oak. But the disaster was caused by Absol. If Absol is not solved, the matter will not end. That is only a temporary solution. Nero insisted. Or, you can fight with Yu. Whoever wins will listen to him. Sharona said. Okay, that one is Yu. Let's have a Pokémon duel. Whoever wins will listen to him. Nero shouted at Yu, and then he walked to an open space on the side, ready to fight. Yu rolled his eyes and looked at Sharona and said, I don't want to fight. But, if we don't fight, Nero won't be honest. If you want to protect Absol, you have to convince Nero, whether it's convincing or not, at least one of them. And Sharona walked towards Yu, suddenly leaned down, and whispered in Yu's ear, help me beat him up, and teach him a lesson. You spilled my ice cream, stained my face, and dared to appear in front of me. Yu was slightly stunned, and his eyes were slightly straight. Sharona was wearing loose clothes, and Yu was a little short, so from this angle, you could just see some beautiful scenery. The infinite scenery is on the dangerous peak. It's true. For the first time, I feel that it's good to be small. Sharona, she's only 18 years old, and she's really well developed. Are you worried that you can't beat it? Don't worry, I know Nero's strength. You can win with the Ghastly just now, as long as you play normally. Sharona said, in low-level battles, ghost and psychic types almost completely beat their peers. That's your cousin. Blood is thicker than water. Yu thought about it and said, cousin. Sharona said, okay. Yu nodded. Although the scenery was beautiful, if he continued to look, he would probably be discovered and beaten to death. He might as well go for a fight. Sharona's vision should not be wrong, and if she saw it correctly, the badge on the boy's chest was the badge of the Star Glory Pokémon School in the Sinnoh region. Generally speaking, there will be no elite level trainer students in Pokémon schools, because elite level students can graduate directly. This guy doesn't look older than himself, and it won't take too long for him to get Pokémon. It's just right to beat him up. Although he doesn't like adventure, he likes Pokémon very much, and doesn't want Pokémon to suffer unnecessary harm, especially this kind of good intentions being struck by lightning. The villagers are easy to solve. In fact, they can't catch Absol at all. Solving Nero will solve the problem. Come on, Yu, show the style of the first in the beginner class. Zeduo Chen consciously walked to the open space on the side and acted as a referee. He supported everything that the goddess agreed with. Yu also got off the car and stood opposite Nero. Come out, my beloved woods turtle. Seeing Yu coming down, Nero swung his Pokeball, a red light flashed, and a huge land turtle appeared in the field. Yu glanced down, and subconsciously the information of woods turtle emerged in his mind. It was the second form of the three great Pokémon in the Sinnoh region, similar to the Bulbasaur in Kanto. However, compared to Bulbasaur, which has both grass and poison attributes, and is flexible in individuality, it can form various tricks. Woods Turtle's operations are generally not that tricky, because it is too slow, and has no disgusting control skills. It should be easy to handle. Okay, Ghastly, go out and play, Yu said. Heavy Ghastly automatically emerged from behind Yu. Okay, now Yu and Nero's battle begins. Both sides can only use one Pokémon, and cannot be replaced. When one Pokémon loses its combat ability, it ends. Nero will attack first. Seijo stood in the middle and said. Yu glanced over. You are so biased. Which school's dean is it? Moreover, you completely ignored the goddess's thoughts, thinking that you should please her, just because she is his cousin. You are too naive, and you deserve to be single. Forest Turtle, use Leaf Blade. Nero was unceremoniously and decisively issued an attack order. The Forest Turtle lay on the ground, and endless leaves spun, turning into sharp blades and flying out, rushing towards Ghastly. Hide, resentment, Yu said calmly. Ghastly moved suddenly, fully demonstrating what it means to be elusive, and easily dodged all the leaf blades, and then looked directly at the Forest Turtle with sharp eyes, and a purple-black breath fell directly on the Forest Turtle. The body of the Forest Turtle sank for no reason. Resentment consumes the physical strength of the opponent's Pokémon, so as to achieve the effect of making the opponent's Pokémon unable to use Pokémon skills. Forest Turtle, don't panic, use photosynthesis, Nero said. The body of the Forest Turtle trembled, and the large leaves on its back emitted a strong light. The sun in the sky fell, and the whole turtle emitted golden light, like a Super Saiyan turtle, losing physical strength. We absorb physical strength directly from the sun, plant-based talents, self-production and self-sale. Nero glanced at Yu with pride, but Yu ignored him completely and quickly issued another order. Highly poisonous. Ghastly moved suddenly, like a flash, floating to the forest turtle that was photosynthesizing, and unable to move, and then the purple aura floated directly into it, and the forest turtle was immediately hit, and the turtle's face turned purple. Forest turtle, use bite and crush. Seeing that the forest turtle was poisoned, Nero panicked immediately. Optical synthesis can restore physical strength, but it cannot cancel abnormal status. Upon hearing this, the forest turtle immediately showed a ferocious expression, jumped up, and the turtle jumped like a tiger, emitting evil energy from its mouth, biting Ghastly fiercely. Ground walk. Yu's voice was not at all chaotic. Ghastly turned into a shadow, fell to the ground, and floated away calmly. The forest turtle fell to the ground with great momentum, and cracks appeared on the ground. It was very imposing, but the damage was zero. Okay, Ghastly, play freely. Shadow clone plus shadow ball. Don't get close. Don't be reckless. Yu said. It's almost done. The forest turtle was poisoned. As long as it takes time, the forest turtle will fall down by itself. Unless the forest turtle can hit Ghastly before it completely loses its strength. But with the forest turtle's veritable turtle speed, it will take 10,000 years to catch up with Ghastly. Hehe. Ghastly showed a strange smile, and the shadow clone suddenly changed into a dozen clones, and then various changes, harassing and teasing the forest turtle. The forest turtle exhaled 2 white air from its nose, roared angrily, and continuously launched various special moves to attack, further consuming his physical strength. Damn it, do you dare to confront me openly? You only know how to hide. What kind of man are you? Nero shouted dissatisfiedly. Yu rolled his eyes and ignored him. What's wrong with me? Or do I have to fight head on to be fair? If that's the case, why would I use a ghost type? If I'm not dirty and mean, why would I play a ghost type? Fighting against a ghost type trainer, I don't even have this much AC. Bad review. On a small hill not far away, a Pokémon looked at this battle strangely. Are these two guys fighting because of me? Chapter 13 Disaster Clarification. Boom. The forest turtle finally couldn't resist the huge consumption of physical strength and lay directly on the ground, revealing a pair of huge circular eyes. Forest turtle, lose the ability to fight. Yu wins. Zeduo Cheng made the decision. Nero took back the forest turtle unwillingly, looked at Yu fiercely and said, one day, I will defeat these rogue tricks of yours. After that, Nero walked away without saying anything. The villagers also left. Little brat who can't afford to lose. Yu shook his head and said, it seems that you are not older than Nero, maybe even younger. Sharona said. Although Yu won, she was very happy, but this statement was completely inconsistent with her temperament. But I'm mature. Yu said. Sharona looked down. Mature? I didn't see it. Yu rolled his eyes and went back to the car to lie down. The driver continued to drive and soon arrived at the site of the ruins investigation. Yu also saw the ancient ruins, which were as dilapidated and ancient as expected. If you go deeper, you can't see them. After all, the main part is underground and Yu can't see it for the time being. The main person in charge of this time, Dr. Mustard Orchid, didn't come to see them. After all, a group of students who followed to study were not important people in Dr. Mustard Orchid's mind. After dinner, Dr. Mustard Orchid came over. She was a kind old lady with wrinkles on her face full of traces of time. Students of Utopia Pokémon Academy, on behalf of the research team members, I welcome you. Yu listened to Dr. Mustard Orchid's polite words and nodded silently to show that he listened carefully. As for his heart, he didn't know where he had flown. These polite words are just for listening. If you take them seriously, you are really naive. After a brief exchange of greetings, Dr. Mustard Orchid went straight to the point and said, I'm very happy that you love the history of Pokémon, but Pokémon archaeology is a very sacred thing. Relic investigation is also the most cautious thing, because the things you touch are likely to be unique in the world and cannot be replicated, so you must have a respectful heart when investigating. At the same time, these relics are not all safe, and you must pay attention to your own safety. Do you understand? I understand. The Pokémon students said in unison. Very good. Starting tomorrow, you will start your 1-week investigation and study. You will be divided into 3 groups according to the grade group and follow the researchers in the team. The specific tutors will be informed to you tomorrow. You must remember that you must obey the arrangements of the leader teacher within this week. Dr. Mr. Dorkid said. A group of students once again expressed that they would study hard. Then, a group of people dispersed and returned to their own rooms. Yu returned to the room and just lay down when the doorbell rang. He opened the door and saw a middle-aged man rest exquisitely outside the door. Uncle Le, you're here. How's the investigation going? Yu turned around and welcomed Uncle Le back. According to our preliminary investigation results, there are no particularly dangerous disaster signs within 100 miles of the ruins. Uncle Le said. There's no need to talk about the results of the preliminary investigation. What about the results of the in-depth investigation? Yu asked. Zio, you really have never been cute since you were a child. Unlike Master Zyojiro, although he is very rebellious, when he grows up, he was still very cute when he was a child and was easy to fool. Uncle Le sighed deeply. Yu squinted his eyes with an expression that said, I'm just acting casually. If you take it seriously, I lose. Okay, I won't tease you anymore. Let's get down to business. After the initial investigation yielded no results, I wanted to repay you like this. After all, in-depth investigations are very costly. But if I responded to you like this, you would definitely not let me go. So I did a further comprehensive investigation. Uncle Le's expression turned serious and he said, we found that the soil nearby was loose. After the previous earthquake, the crust here has problems. If there is bad weather, it is easy to cause landslides. According to the weather station's forecast, there will be heavy rains in 3 days. Does the scope include nearby villages and ruins? Yu said. Of course, if it erupts, the current villages and ruins are within the scope. If there is no preparation at all, the casualties may be beyond imagination. Uncle Le said. Then Uncle Le, what are you still sitting here for? Why don't you quickly notify Dr. Mr. Dorkid and the others to prepare, disperse those rain clouds, and then invite some grass type Pokémon to beautify the soil and rocks. If it doesn't work, find a few Boscadus and simply blow up the surrounding hills. Yu said. If it is not discovered in advance, it is called a disaster. Discovered in advance, with the technology of humans in this world, it is so easy. I want you to announce the news. Uncle Le said. Do you want me to show my face? No need, Uncle Le, I don't lack opportunities to show off. Yu said. This is for you to fully demonstrate your talents, not to show off. In this generation, there are only you and Master Kachiro, but you are both worried. Uncle Le said. I'm already very good, and strictly speaking, I'm also an outsider. It depends on my cousin. Yu said. After all, his last name is not Sasaki. If you have more children and let one of them change his last name, there will be no problem in inheriting the family business. Uncle Le said. But I have a problem. For me, money above a certain value is no different from numbers, and the wealth of the Kyojin family for hundreds of years is enough for me. The wealth of the Sasaki family is the best, but it doesn't matter if there is no wealth. Yu spread his hands and said. Moreover, the competition for the property of the rich family feels troublesome. Why should I get involved? Although my opponent seems to be much less reliable than myself. Well, you and Master Kajiro are both very opinionated people, especially you, who have been very opinionated since childhood. It's useless for me to say anything. If you don't want to say it, let me say it. However, no matter what, once it starts, your excavation of the ruins is expected to be delayed for a while. Uncle Le said. It's okay, just treat it as a holiday, and take a look at the Pokémon in the Sinnoh region. If you are lucky, you may be able to capture a few. Yu said. Capture Pokémon? Zio, when you fought with Nero for Absol before, did you want to capture Absol? If so, I will help you collect information about that Absol and determine the approximate range before 12 noon tomorrow. Uncle Le said. No, I just don't want Absol to be wronged. Just go with the flow. Yu said indifferently. Except for quasi-gods and mythical beasts, he is free with all Pokémon. Even quasi-gods can be free with fate to a certain extent. After all, quasi-god cups can also be bought with money. However, the basic channel is the black market, and the source of those quasi-god cups in the black market is obvious. No trade, no harm. You can't eradicate evil. He is afraid of death, but he can choose not to participate. Chapter 14, The Injured Absol. What's going on? I finally got here, but I can't study right away. Sunday complained while sitting in the hall. That's right, do I still want to study with Professor Mustard or Kit? Tanagawa also looked at the book in his hand with disdain. If he was just reading books, why did he come to SYNOPSIS? If you don't study with my grandma, but study with me, is that okay? At this time, a voice sounded, and Sunday and Tanagawa stood up together, looked outside, and immediately shouted happily, "Miss Sirona, why are you here?" You, who had not joined the discussion group, and was cultivating feelings with the little fire horse, also asked curiously. "Because I was originally planned to lead you in archaeological exploration. Now something happened, and I can't go for the time being, but I can teach you some basic knowledge to facilitate the real archaeological expedition in a few days," Sirona said. "Miss Sirona, are you also a member of the archaeological team?" Sunday said in surprise. "Yes, I have been with my grandma since I was a child. I'm very interested in Pokémon myths and legends and history. If there was no Champions League at the end of this year, I would have planned to take a doctorate," Sirona said. "Miss Sirona, you are amazing." Tanagawa looked at her with admiration. "But won't this distract your attention? When you are a Pokémon master, shouldn't you be fully focused and not distracted at all?" Sunday asked in confusion. "No, this is also one of my interests. Besides, there are more ways to enhance your strength than just training Pokémon skills and honing tactics. Other aspects can also enhance your understanding of your Pokémon, like learning history to know the origin of your Pokémon," Sirona said. "Will knowing the origin help you in battle?" Tanagawa asked. "For me, it is definitely good, but I don't know about you. But it's always right to know more. More skills are better than less," Sirona said. "I see, I thought you had to be focused enough in doing things," Tanagawa said thoughtfully. Sirona nodded, and seeing Yu who had been silent next to her, she couldn't help but ask curiously, "They all have problems, but you are not curious at all? Why are you curious? Isn't it natural for a top trainer to have a side job? It's standard." Yu looked at several people with a strange look on his face. "Really? Don't talk nonsense," Sunday retorted. "Being a trainer is a hard road. It's not enough for one person to use all his energy, and he also has a side job." Yu showed a subtle smile. If he didn't have glasses, he would definitely raise his glasses at this time to let the glasses reflect the light of wisdom. However, even if the effect is not good, the taunting is still necessary. He began to speak calmly. "The four heavenly kings of Kanto. The Dragon King Watari, who is a part-time champion of Johto, has a side job as a prosecutor and fights crime in various regions all day long. The Fighting King Hiba is known as the Karate King and the god of fighting. He has about 100 dodgers under his name that teach how to fight with real people, and he is the P1 champion in the entire region every year. The Ice King Kona has a side job as a Pokémon school instructor because her grandmother was also a professor. She also invested in the hot spring business in the Orange Islands, and she has shares in most of the hot springs in the Orange Islands. The Ghost King, my great aunt Kiku, likes to study herbal magic and is planning to retire to become a gym trainer." Sunday and Tanagawa were stunned. It was the first time they knew that the kings of their region were so versatile. However, Sunday, who has always been strong-willed, sang the opposite tune and said, "Even so, it may be just an isolated case in our Kanto region." "Really? In the Hone region, the champion Daigo is a steel-type Pokémon master, and his sideline job is mining. He is a stone-digging master and a stone collector. The Water-type King Mikali is the #1 coordination trainer, and the Dragon-type King Genji is a sideline captain, a sea traveler, and a pirate nemesis. In the Unova region, the champion Adek is a travel blogger and is known as the Mobile Unova Travel Encyclopedia. The Ghost King Wanlong is a novelist and is good at writing novels. The evil type King Lingju is the owner of the largest casino in Unova. The fighting King Lianwu looks exactly like Hiba. In the Kalos region, the champion Miss Kaluna is a famous film and television star. The water-type King Shami is a restaurant owner, and the fire-type King Pakara is a famous radio host. Yu looked at Sunday, who was getting more and more stupid as he listened, and said word by word, "Do you think that you can hang around in the circle of kings and champions without a good sideline? You know so much." Sharona looked at Yu in surprise. She didn't know that the champions of so many regions were so amazing. Basic information, these are all open secrets. They didn't want to cover it up at all. The king is also a human being and can have his own side job. As long as you are willing to spend money, you can know, but you don't care about it usually. Yu said, "As for the 4 heavenly kings of Kanto, there is no one I don't know. The only problem is that I'm often not sexy enough, so I often seem out of place when I'm with them." "Okay, let's talk later. Now, let's learn first," Sharona said. Yu and a few others nodded. It is always good to learn from Sharona. If you can find an opportunity to learn some fighting skills, it will be even better. A woo at this time, a white shadow flashed at the door, and a slightly desolate voice sounded. Yu showed curiosity. "Why does it sound like a dog barking? Is there anyone beating a dog nearby?" Looking up at the door, I saw Absol trembling and walked in. He looked up at Yu with a little hope in his eyes, and then fell down directly. "Absol." Yu's face changed, and he ran out directly, squatting on the left side of Absol, looking at the scars all over Absol's body, with purple scars on its snow-white body. Severely injured and poisoned. Without saying a word, Yu picked up Absol and rushed to the Pokémon Center. "Miss Joy, hurry up." Yu ran into the Pokémon Center and shouted. How could this child be so seriously injured? Miss Joy was shocked when she saw Absol's appearance and hurriedly took Absol from Yu and pushed him into the operating room. Yu was relieved and sat on a chair on the side. He was really tired from carrying him all the way. "Yu, how is Absol?" Sharona and the other 3 came from behind. "He has been sent to the operating room and we don't know how he is, but with Miss Joy here, it shouldn't be a big deal," Yu said. "That's good. These villagers are too much. They actually hurt Absol like this." Tanagora said dissatisfiedly. Although he didn't know whether Yu was right or wrong, as a trainer who liked Pokémon, he couldn't bear to see someone abuse Pokémon like this. "It's not them." Yu shook his head and said, "The wounds on Absol were mainly from 2 Pokémon. One is a poison type Pokémon, so the wounds are poisonous, and the other has 3 long and thin claws. It should be a cat type Pokémon. These villagers don't have these things. Nero doesn't have poison type Pokémon or cat type Pokémon either," Sharona said. "Is that a battle between Pokémon in the wild? It's really cruel," Tanagora said. "Maybe." Yu looked at the operating room. When he came here, he looked at the Pokémon distribution map of the Sinnoh region. This area is not suitable for the survival of poison type Pokémon, so there should be no poison type Pokémon. Near Yu's residence, several people wearing uniforms like spacesuits appeared. "We were not paying attention for a moment and let the Absol escape here. Forget it. If it escapes here, it will make a lot of noise if we take action. It's unnecessary. It would be terrible if we ruin Lord Chiri's plan." "That's right. It was just a whim anyway. We hope to use its ability to detect disasters so that we can be safer when we go on missions and explore ruins in the future. But since it ran away, let it go. I hope this time it won't be in vain." Dialga, Porkia. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 Absol's Hesitation. Dang, the light in the operating room turned from red to green. Yu immediately stood up and rushed to Miss Joy and Chandler. "Miss Joy, how is Absol? How can you be a trainer? You let Absol get so badly injured and almost died. Do you know?" Miss Joy scolded her, and Chandler also waved his short arms, as if accusing Yu. "Miss Joy, I'm not this child's trainer. I've only met it twice, and this is the second time," Yu said innocently. "Ah, sorry. I saw that kid was so close to you. I thought you were its trainer." Miss Joy said with embarrassment. But what happened to that Absol? It was seriously injured. Judging from the wounds, it was done by Frog and Cat. There are no these two Pokémon nearby, so it must be the trainer's fault. I thought you were the one who commanded it to fight. Frog and Cat. Yu raised his eyebrows. It seems that his guess was not wrong. Then how is he now? He has basically passed the critical period. He will recover after resting for a while. You can go see him now. Miss Joy said. Okay. Yu walked into the operating room, looked at Absol lying on the bed, and smiled. Absol, are you okay? Absol looked up at Yu with a little strangeness in his eyes. This human really sent himself here for treatment. He is really different from the humans he had seen before. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? But seeing how energetic you are, there shouldn't be any big problems. Make sure to rest well. No one else or Pokémon will hurt you. Yu said. Absol looked at Yu for a long time and finally lay on the bed to rest. But why did you think of coming to me? Do you like me? Or do you want to be my Pokémon? Yu looked at Absol and said. Although it is an evil Pokémon and a little bigger, it is also very cute. It is a Pokémon with high appearance and aloofness. And it also has the talent of sensing disasters, which can be called the best travel partner for Pokémon trainers. After all, on the road of travel, all kinds of natural disasters and man-made disasters may occur. Every year, a certain number of trainers are taken away by various natural disasters and man-made disasters because of their courage and adventure, and no one survives. If there is an Absol around, it can avoid the dangers of accidental injuries such as earthquakes and landslides to the greatest extent. Although I don't travel by myself, it is always good to have it around. At the same time, the combat ability is not weak, and the average racial value of physical attack talent is 130. What is the concept? Charizard, one of the 3 fire-type Pokémons, has a physical attack ability of only 130 after super evolving into its X form. Dragonite, known as the quasi-god of Kanto, has a physical attack ability of only 134. Moreover, unlike Charizard and Dragonite, which need 3 stages of evolution and a long time, Absol is born in a complete form. Absol glanced at Yu and simply closed his eyes. It took the initiative to find Yu, not because it liked Yu so much, but because it had no choice. It felt that it was dying and needed help, but it didn't know any other people or Pokémon except itself. So it had no choice, and instinctively found the man who fought for it the day before yesterday. Then, he really helped itself. However, it didn't think it through and just followed Yu. Asking for help is not selling oneself. I haven't thought it through. Don't worry. We have time. I will try to make you like me. I'll go pay you and order a nutritious meal now. Yu walked out with a smile. Absol's sickle-like grey-blue horn shone. Sensing Yu's departure, it secretly opened its eyes and looked at Yu in secret. Although I didn't want to follow Yu when I asked for help, when I was seriously injured and weak, the feeling of being held in Yu's arms was really good. When you are in the dark and extremely helpless, the light of dawn will appear extremely dazzling and warm. This is also the reason why I said that Absol is close to Yu. Because when he was held, Absol instinctively shrank in Yu's arms, seeking warmth. Should I follow this man? Absol hesitated. Failed to capture it? Absol is not a Pokémon that can be captured easily. They are generally lonely and cold, and they are not close to humans. Sunday looked at Yu who came out alone proudly and said, "Cold, that's just because you haven't met the right person. It's still a long time before Absol is discharged from the hospital. I have a lot of opportunities," Yu said. TSK. A Pokémon with a race value of only 465. Even if you capture it, it's nothing great. Sunday said. There are no weak Pokémon, only weak Pokémon trainers. Yu said. In this world, there are as many Pokémon as there are Pokémon trainers, and there are as many possibilities as there are Pokémon trainers. There is nothing that these trainers cannot do, except for the unexpected. Have you seen a monster with a race value of only 505? Crushing a small mountain with 4 punches and knocking down a Dragonite? Have you seen a Jenga with a race value of only 500, ravaging the quasi-god Banjira? Yu has seen it all. That's a lie in the textbooks. Sunday said in disbelief. who believe in textbooks the most, also think that textbooks lie to you? You looked at Sunday as if he had discovered a new continent. I can't beat you, and textbooks are becoming less and less useful. Sunday said. Studying just to defeat me? Your life goal is really low. It's better to be a little bit promising. Even if that dream can't be achieved in your lifetime, it doesn't matter, it doesn't take up a position anyway. But if you don't have any dreams at all, then you're really finished. You complained, and then went to order a nutritious meal for Absol. Sunday stomped his feet in anger, but he couldn't do anything to Yu. Sirona watched this scene with great interest. There are no weak Pokémon, only weak Pokémon trainers. This statement is not wrong in theory. The world is so big that almost every once in a while, there will be some masters who use ordinary Pokémon to fight their way out. Pikachu, Beedrill, Boar. But the probability is really very low. Does this boy have hope? It's a pity that this boy only has 2 Pokémon. Even if he captures Absol, he only has 3, not even 6. He is completely unqualified to participate in the Regional League Conference. There is less than a year left before the Regional League Conference. The boy's chance of successfully participating and winning the championship is too small. Otherwise, they can participate in the Champions League together to see if he has any chance. Chapter 16 Yu is about to die. Eat more. I ordered these for you. They can replenish your nutrition to the greatest extent and they are delicious. Yu held his face with his hands and watched Absol eat. In the past, I didn't understand why some people like to watch people eat live and send rockets. Now, I suddenly understand a little. Because Absol eating is really cute. Seeing a little greedy, Yu stretched out his hand to take some Pokémon food from Absol's lunchbox to eat. But as soon as his hand reached out, Absol slapped it down and then looked at Yu kindly with a pair of blood red eyes. Mine. I bought it. Is it necessary to be so stingy? Yu pulled back his hand and shouted. Absol nodded firmly. Mine. Yu and Absol stared at each other for a long time, and Absol still did not retreat. Finally, Yu admitted his fear and said, okay, it's all yours, I won't fight. Absol then lowered his head contentedly and ate the food. Ghastly floated out happily, hovering around Absol. It had been a long time since it had seen someone hurt Yu's heart so much. Joy. Yu glared at it fiercely, but there was nothing he could do with Ghastly. He lowered his head and flipped through the latest information until Uncle Le called. Uncle Le, what's wrong? Has the problem nearby been solved? Yu asked. Yes, the rain clouds nearby have basically dispersed, ensuring that there will be no heavy rain in a short time. At the same time, the soil and rocks nearby have also improved with the help of several earth turtles, basically cutting off the possibility of mudslides. It is expected that the archaeological research work will resume as before the day after tomorrow. Well, I should start studying too, Yu said. There is one more thing, that is, the day after tomorrow, Mr. Kyrie, a wealthy businessman in Sinop, will also come. Will you come then, Yu? Mr. Kyrie is a famous businessman in Sinop, and we also have many important business dealings. You said Kyrie will come the day after tomorrow? Yu raised his eyebrows. Yes, Mr. Cherry, he has always been interested in relics of mythology and history. He said he came to help Dr. Mustard Orchid, and we have a good relationship with him. Uncle Les said. Nothing. Cherry will arrive the day after tomorrow, right? Yu said. Yes, the day after tomorrow. Okay, that's it for now. Yu hung up the phone, and the expression on his face became extremely solemn in an instant. Cherry, did I meet him at this time? The behind-the-scenes leader of the Galaxy team, the largest underground organization in Sinop, usually appears in front of people as a philanthropic businessman, but secretly wants to control Dialga and Palkia to destroy the world, and then create a new world. A complete paranoid. It is also the type of person Yu least wants to see. He is even willing to face Sasaki, the leader of the largest underground organization in Kanto and Johto, rather than Cherry. Because although Sasaki is not a good person and has done many things that hurt the world, he does things based on his interests. Therefore, unless Yu harms the core interests of Team Rocket will not dare to attack him because of his identity and will even provide some help. But Kyrie is different. What is a person who wants to destroy the world afraid of? Isn't it just to study the ancients and learn something? How did he meet the villain boss? It's not that only the protagonist has passive skills, and there are problems wherever he goes. Although there is a certain possibility that Kyrie just came to take a look, but this possibility is too small. The greater possibility is that Kyrie has taken a fancy to the news about Dialga and Palkia in this ruins. And if Team Galaxy takes a fancy to it, they will definitely grab it, and there will be a battle at that time. If the war happens. Yu thought about the combat power in his current hand, 2 Pokémon with only high level strength, and sighed for a long time. I'm too green. Absol, who was eating happily, looked up when he heard Yu's words, and looked at Yu's lost expression. He showed a hesitant expression on his face. After a while of entanglement, he cut the Pokémon food in the plate in half with the sickle horn on his head, and then stretched out his forelimbs to pass the food to Yu. Yu hesitated for a moment, and looked at Absol. Are you willing to share with me now? Absol lowered his head, and said nothing again. Yu smiled slightly, and his depressed mood was relieved a lot. Forget it, why think so much? The enemy will be blocked by the generals, and the red sun is not a big deal. In the end, it didn't blow up the world, and I'm not his main target. Why do I have such a paranoid delusion? I don't want to cause trouble, but I'm not afraid of trouble. With such a powerful family background, I'm still so cowardly. I'm not worthy of the reincarnation technology arranged by God. However, looking at the Absol in front of him, Yu suddenly came up with a plan, and sighed deeply. Absol, your injuries are almost healed. In about a day or two, you will be able to leave the hospital and go out. By then, we may never see each other again. Absol raised his head, and looked at Yu. Can't see him? You have always refused to agree to be my Pokémon, but it's okay. I feel that something dangerous may happen to me recently. Maybe I will die. It's better for you not to follow me, so as to avoid accidents. Yu patted Absol's head, and said in a heavy tone, as if he was explaining his affairs after his death. Dangerous? Absol stood up, looked at Yu, and called a few times, but no one knew what he wanted to express. It's good. Tomorrow, I probably won't come to see you again, but I have already paid for the surgery and hospitalization fees. You can live well. After Yu said that, he stood up and left without looking back. After leaving the Pokémon Center, Yu deliberately took a long detour and walked all the way, but no Pokémon followed. Yu's mouth twitched. Did I make a wrong judgment? The relationship between Absol and me is not that high. My favorability is not enough. I want to pretend to be cool like Xiaozi, and then become an idiot. I'm not the protagonist. Why do I pretend? With a long sigh, Yu reflected on himself, and then began to think about what to do next. In a few days, I will put on a show, and say that my crisis is over. Then I want to fight with Absol, and have a Pokémon capture duel with him. Ghastly should be able to win. Thinking of this, I went back to my residence to rest, and then prepare to think. When the idea was almost done, it was the middle of the moon, and Yu took a bath, and prepared to go to bed. But halfway through the bath, I suddenly heard the glass breaking, and a crackling sound. Yu frowned immediately. What the hell? Is it hail? Or is it that the naughty kid has nothing to do in the middle of the night and smashed my window? Curious, he casually pulled up the towel, and wiped his lower body, then came out in a bathrobe, only to see Absol looking at him coquettishly. Yu was immediately overjoyed and wanted to rush over, but thinking of what he had done at noon, he immediately calmed down and said, Absol, why are you here? Absol looked at the Pokémon ball that Yu had placed aside, then raised his head, a red light flashed, and he went straight in. Yu was stunned, not realizing that there was such an operation. But soon, he fell into ecstasy. I have captured Absol. Chapter 17. You are actually a wizard. Absol, use your most powerful trick to attack the stone in front of you. Let me see how strong you are. Don't worry, we are just doing a preliminary simple understanding. Yu pointed to a huge stone in front of him that was as tall as a person. After conquering Absol, it is natural to test Absol's strength first. Absol looked at the stone in front of him with a solemn expression. A force full of destructive breath gathered in his mouth, and a beam of orange-yellow light suddenly shot out and hit the stone. With a loud bang, the stone suddenly exploded and broke into pieces. The broken stones flew, and Yu was shocked and almost hit by the broken stones. Ghastly was so scared that he hid in Yu's shadow. Absol called out and looked at Yu expectantly. I'm not bad. Yu was stunned for a while and then nodded solemnly. Damn, the destruction ray. A real trick. It is the strongest trick that Absol, or most Pokémon, can learn. It can almost judge the strength of a Pokémon. Only elite level Pokémon can use this trick. And not all elite level Pokémon can learn it. So, Absol is actually an elite level Pokémon. Yu was full of surprise. Fortunately, he took the emotional route. Otherwise, if they really fought, Ghastly would be one level lower and his attributes would be restrained. Even if he was in command, he would most likely not be the opponent. Absol called again, urging Yu to give it a reply. Great. Yu gave a thumbs up. Absol, what other tricks do you have? Keep showing them. With Yu's praise, a purple-black energy ball accumulated in Absol's mouth, and it suddenly shot out, exploding with smoke and dust. Evil wave. Yu raised his eyebrows, vaguely feeling that something was wrong. Destruction Death Beam and Evil Wave were both powerful tricks, proving that Absol was definitely an elite level Pokémon. But Destruction Death Beam and Evil Wave are both energy attacks. But isn't Absol's racial talent physical attack? Yu looked down at Absol. Was this Absol's talent point wrong? Or does every warrior actually have the heart of a wizard? It shouldn't be like this. Don't wild Pokémon prefer physical combat? Anything else? Yu asked. Don't tell me it's all magic attacks. Absol nodded and rushed out with a flash of lightning. Then he turned his head and swung out a light blue energy slash with his sickle-like horn, cutting through the air. Flash of lightning, air slash. Yu had a weird expression. He had 4 special moves, 3 magic attacks, and 1 physical attack. This Absol's skill points were definitely wrong. After Absol performed his special moves, he looked at Yu eagerly. Yu put away his complicated thoughts and gave him a decisive compliment. Absol, you are very strong. You are the most powerful Absol I have ever seen. Absol smiled happily and rubbed his head against Yu. Seeing Absol's happy smile, Yu also smiled happily. Pokémon have various personalities, but in most cases, Pokémon are innocent children, so when being a Pokémon trainer, a mature trainer plays the role of a part-time parent. Encouragement and criticism are both necessary, but encouragement is often the main approach. This is also Yu's consistent style. If the skill points are crooked, just click them crooked. It's no big deal. The Pokémon world has everything. The skill points are crooked, but there are also some crooked ones. For example, a group of Charizards in Charizard Valley are all experts in physical attacks. They believe that the fire-breathing Charizards are weaklings, and the truly powerful Charizards should fight with their bodies. Pokémon trainers always need to make adjustments because of Pokémon. After all, Pokémon trainers are Pokémon in front and trainers in the back. Moreover, maybe they are all good at it, but they just haven't discovered it yet. After returning, do a comprehensive inspection. After playing with Absol for a few days, the ruins investigation finally began. An airship landed from the sky, and a middle-aged man who looked amiable got off the airship. Kyrie, you are late this time. If there was no disaster nearby, and we had to solve it, you would not have made it this time. Dr. Mustard Orchid looked at Kyrie and said, it means that this relic is destined to be with me. It's just right to participate in the last part. Kyrie smiled and greeted Dr. Mustard Orchid. He chatted and laughed with the other people around him. They were all familiar with each other. Dr. Mustard Orchid also introduced the others on behalf of Kyrie. Kyrie smiled, and his words made people feel like they were bathed in spring breeze. A group of students looked at Kyrie with respect and admiration. Only Yu had no intention of getting close. He sat aside and looked up the basic training methods of Absol on the internet, as well as the Pokémon food, training tools and toys that Absol needed. They were almost done, and it was past noon. Sharona suddenly sat opposite him and said, why don't you go see Mr. Kyrie? You are hiding here alone. If you don't want to see him, then don't see him. He is not a beauty, and there is nothing to see. If a beauty like Miss Sharona came down, I would definitely meet her, but she is not. And Miss Sharona, what do you want to find me for? Yu said. Because the investigation of the ruins is still going on, each instructor has to take students to study, and of the 3 people I'm leading, only you have not arrived yet, so I need to find you myself. Sharona said word by word, her beautiful eyes flashing, staring straight at Yu. Really? Yu suddenly looked embarrassed. Is it so embarrassing? Sharona nodded decisively, then got up and left. Yu followed her dejectedly, and joined Shengde and others to enter the ruins. The origin of this ruins has not been investigated clearly, but it occupies a large area. We have only developed the front area now, and the area behind has not been developed yet. You follow me, and survey the outermost area. After a while, I will take you to study the relevant unearthed objects nearby, Sharona said. Yu and the other 2 nodded in unison, indicating that they would obey. They walked into the ruins and looked at the many carvings on the stone walls on both sides, which seemed to record things that happened hundreds of years ago. The paintings on the corridor are all ancient relics from 3,000 years ago. There may be precious information beyond imagination hidden in them. Don't take it lightly. Of course, if you don't understand anything, you can ask me at any time. Sharona smiled at Yu and the others. Yes, Miss Sharona, what is the creature on it? Is it also a Pokémon? Unique to SYNOPSIS? Sunday stopped in front of mural and said, I don't know about this either. It may be a Pokémon we haven't discovered yet, or it may be a Pokémon that has become extinct like the fossil helmet. Sharona said. Although she studied mythology, she didn't know everything. Extinct Pokémon, that's really interesting. Sunday showed a curious look on his face. Yu, what do you think? Sharona looked at Yu on the side and said, not knowing if it was an illusion. When Yu saw this mural just now, his eyes were surprised and stunned, as if he knew it. No, it just feels so strange. I've never seen it before. Yu smiled. Seeing this, Sharona didn't say anything else, but continued to introduce and explain, while Yu looked at the mural with a strange expression. Sharona said that this place is related to the creation myth of SYNOPSIS, and Shiri is also here, so he thinks it must be related to Dialga and Palkia, but the creature on this mural has nothing to do with Dialga and Palkia. It is a explosive mosquito, an ultimate beast, a specialty of the Alola region. It lives in another world, but often comes to this world through the ultimate hole to invade. But how can it appear here? Yu suppressed his curiosity and learned all the way, but he didn't finish the tour in a morning. He mainly listened to the explanation. After that, he followed to watch the unearthed cultural relics. After several days, Yu finished walking this corridor and finally saw the Pokémon that should appear in the Sinnoh region on the mural. But it was not Dialga and Palkia. It was the hidden third-party Giratina. Chapter 18, Midnight Terror. What is the relationship between Giratina and Ultra Beasts? Yu sat in front of the computer, thinking hard, but in the end he still couldn't figure out what the relationship was. One is from the Sinnoh region, and the other is a specialty of the Alola region. How are they related? The only connection is that these 2 creatures do not live in this world, but in another world, and that world is called the Reverse World. But it's just the same name. In Giratina's reverse world, there is only one creature, more like the mirror world of this world, and it is impossible to leave the main world. The world where the Ultra Beasts live is at the same level as this world. But if there is no relationship, they will definitely not appear in the same ruins. I can only talk to the Ether Foundation. My mother knows Lily, and she must know her mother Lusamine. Yu thought to himself. Generally speaking, academic research on Pokémon is the specialty of Pokémon doctors. The regional doctors of a place represent the highest level of research on local Pokémon. But there are always exceptions to everything. In the Alola region, there is no alliance at all, and the alliance's support is limited. Therefore, in terms of Ultra Beasts, it is the Alola region's first enterprise, the Ether Foundation, that has done research. Video contact. Not long after, the image of Yu's mother appeared on the computer screen. My dear son, what day is it today? You took the initiative to contact me? Mom, do you know the contact information of Lusamine, the chairman of the board? Yu asked. I know. What's the matter? You have something to ask her? Yu's mother asked curiously. Yes, I have something important to ask her, Yu said. Okay, wait a moment. I'll create a group and have a group video. After Yu's mother operated, Yu's computer split into two screens, one of which was still Yu's mother, and the other was a blonde young woman that Yu had never seen before. Hello, this handsome boy is Yu, right? He looks very handsome. In a few days, our Lilia will go to Kanto school, and you need to take care of him. Lusamine smiled and greeted Yu. Hello, Aunt Lusamine. I'm Yu. I came to you on purpose, because I want to trouble you with something. Yu said. What's the matter? Auntie will try her best to help. Lusamine said. It's like this. I'm investigating an ancient site in SYNOPSIS, and I found some new Pokémon there. I've never known them before, so I want Auntie to help me take a look. Yu said. Identifying Pokémon? I'm not very good at this either, so I should ask the regional doctor for this. Lusamine said. But I think these Pokémon are special, not like ordinary Pokémon. Yu took out a piece of rubbing paper and put it in front of the computer camera. Special Pokémon? I don't know either. This is explosive flycatcher. Lusamine was about to say that she didn't know it, but when she saw explosive flycatcher, her expression changed in an instant, and she stood up instantly. Yu, where are you now? SYNOPSIS, near Hirano village. Yu said. Near Hirano village? Okay, wait, I'll come right over, and I'll take the airship to Hirano village tomorrow at the latest. Wait for me. As she spoke, Lusamine's image went black and went offline. Mom, is President Lusamine so anxious? Yu said. I should ask you this. I have never seen him like this since I met him. Unless this Pokémon is an Ultra Beast. Lusamine's wish since she was a child is to see an Ultra Beast. Yuma said. Yu sighed deeply. I know it's an Ultra Beast, but what I want to ask is what is the relationship between Ultra Beast and Giratina? Yu hung up the video. Forget it. Let's wait until Lusamine comes. If we take a plane from Alola to SYNOPSIS, we should be able to arrive tomorrow afternoon. Moreover, if it is only related to Giratina and Ultra Beasts, Kairi should not be too interested in this ruins. In this way, I can relax a lot. Thinking of this, Yu looked relaxed, logged into the website, watched the information of the beautiful women of the Alliance, and relaxed. At the same time, in Kairi's private room, Kairi was also holding his video conference. On the computer, the screen was divided into 3 parts. Partner Star, Town Star, and Year Star. Senior Combat Officer of the Galaxy Team. Lord Cherry, from what we can see so far, this ruin has nothing to do with Dialga and Palkia, but with Giratina and some Pokémon we haven't seen yet. Should we continue? Harksing said. Go on. Giratina is also a legendary Pokémon, and has an inexplicable connection with Dialga and Palkia. This ruin also has very rich research qualifications. Especially today, a treasure has just been discovered, and we must get it. Cherry said. What treasure? Harksing asked in confusion. Platinum Jade Soul. Cherry said word by word. Platinum Jade Soul? Lord, you are talking about a treasure that comes from the power of Giratina, and is at the same level as the Diamond Jade Soul and the White Jade Soul. Suxing said in surprise. Yes, that's it. The Diamond Jade Soul is in Bayday City. As long as the plan is launched, we will seize the Diamond Jade Soul. But we haven't got the White Jade Soul yet. If we get the Platinum Jade Soul, we may be able to get some information. After all, there is a connection between Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina that we don't know. The Platinum Jade Soul is not something we must get, but since we have met it, we can't let it go. Action at 12 o'clock in the evening. Kairi said. Yes, Lord Kairi. HUO Crossing, SUI Crossing, and Zen Crossing said in unison. Time passed quietly, night fell on the earth, and everyone fell into a sweet dream in the dead of night. However, at this time, a shocking explosion suddenly sounded. With a bang, the ground shook, and even Yu, who was lying on the bed, was almost shaken off the bed. Yu woke up unexpectedly, with a blank face, and a little confused, but then another violent explosion sounded, which immediately scared his soul back. Yu stood up quickly, and saw the ruins exploded under the moonlight, and a piece of collapsed ruins. Which guy is so heartless to blow up the entire ruins? Yu was surprised. This world was created by Pokémon, but it was finally ruled by humans. What kind of evolution has happened during this period is an eternal topic. and the only thing that can solve this problem is these ruins left over from the past. Such destruction is, in a sense, the sinner of all mankind. But after being surprised, Yu quickly determined the identity of the other party, the Galaxy Team, the largest underground organization in SYNOPSIS, and their leader is here again. In this case, if it is not done by them, then there is no other possibility. But isn't this guy Chiri only interested in Dialga and Palkia? Yu hasn't figured it out yet, and the Pokeball on the side flashed red, and Absol jumped out of the Pokeball, making an uneasy roar, grinning in a certain direction, and the whole Pokémon was restless, and then without Yu's consent, it broke out of the door, and ran in one direction. Absol. Although Yu was not sure what had happened, he chased after him anxiously. Chapter 19 Platinum Jade Soul. Absol was running wildly in front, and Yu was chasing after him. After running all the way, he finally saw Absol stop at the corner, but there was no expression of joy on his face, but an infinite sternness. Because opposite Absol, there were several people wearing uniforms like spacesuits, surrounded by a large group of Zubat and Itachi. Yu's pupils shrank slightly, and he immediately understood the cause and effect. Absol's previous injuries were indeed not caused by the villagers or the wild Pokémon here. Instead, he was injured by a foreign trainer Pokémon. I just didn't expect that it was someone from Team Galaxy. It's you, Absol. I escaped from you last time. Are you going to deliver yourself to me this time? Huo Crossing said with a playful look on his face, looking at Yu behind Absol. Are you brave, because you followed the new master? What are you doing here? Yu frowned and looked at Huo Crossing and his group. In the middle of the night, they deliberately blew up the ruins, lured the tiger away from the mountain, lured Chirona and the others out, and then ran over here. They spent so much effort, there must be something they care about here. But didn't the Galaxy Team only care about the White Jade Soul, Diamond Jade Soul, and Gun Key? And these things shouldn't be here. These have nothing to do with you, little kid. Since you refuse to sleep obediently, I have to get rid of you first. Dangshi Meow, grab wildly. Huo Crossing gave the order with a cold face. Dangshi Meow's fat body suddenly jumped up, and its two sharp claws grabbed at Absol fiercely. Absol, evil wave. Yu's voice sounded at the same time. Absol roared, and the purple-black energy wave in its mouth suddenly burst out, and hit Dangshi Meow. Dangshi Meow dodge, continue to attack. Huo Crossing kept giving orders. Dangshi Meow turned flexibly. Although his body was fat, he still maintained a high degree of flexibility, and rushed towards Absol. Absol, flash of lightning, hit it. Yu said. Absol understood immediately, and leaped into a beam of white light. Not only did he dodge the attack of the Meowth, but he also rushed to Huaxing at lightning speed. This was not a Pokémon competition, but a realistic battle oriented towards victory. If you can deal with the trainer, what other Pokémon can you deal with? All Pokémon that have been captured by humans and trained for a long time often have a big disadvantage. That is, they are used to human orders. If humans do not give orders, they will be at a loss for a period of time. And this period of confusion can help you do a lot of things. Huaxing's face suddenly changed, and the Pokeball was thrown out quickly. A red light flashed, and a Pokémon like a bronze mirror flew out, blocking Huaxing like a shield. Bang! Absol hit the bronze mirror hard, making a crisp sound, and the bronze mirror was directly knocked away, and Absol's head also shook. The bronze mirror is a Pokémon with dual attributes of Psychic and Steel, the bronze mirror monster. The ordinary type of lightning flash has limited damage to the steel type bronze mirror monster. Attack together, bronze mirror monster, use hypnosis, Meowth. Continue to use crazy claws on that trainer. Huo Crossing said angrily. If he had been a little slower just now, he would have been hit by this Absol. Where did this kid come from? Aren't trainers of this age supposed to strictly abide by the rules of Pokémon competitions and only fight Pokémon? He doesn't follow the rules at all. The rest of the Galaxy Team members behind him commanded their Pokémon one after another. A large number of gulps vibrated their wings and rushed towards Yu and Absol. At the same time, Bronze Mirror Monster was emitting green light all over, and Meowth was clawing wildly. Its claws were sharp and slender, almost able to cut through steel. Absol, maximum power evil wave, don't worry about me. Yu gave the order without hesitation, as if he didn't see Meowth attacking him at all. Absol listened to Yu's words, his eyes were fierce, and an evil wave spurted out of his mouth again. The purple-black energy wave was swift and powerful, hitting Bronze Mirror Monster before Bronze Mirror Monster's hypnosis took effect. Bronze Mirror Monster cried out, and fell down directly. After that, Absol rushed towards Huo Crossing, and the sickle-like horns on his head slashed, knocking Huo Crossing to the ground, cutting Huo Crossing's clothes, and a golden round bead rolled out of her body. Platinum Jade Soul. Yu was surprised to see the things falling from Huo Crossing. The legendary thing that could increase Giratina's power was actually dug out in this ruins. He also reacted at the first time, rolling like a lazy donkey, snatching the Platinum Jade Soul from the ground, but at the same time as he snatched it, countless attacks arrived at the same time. First, the air slash of Zubat came all over the sky, and many air energy waves densely fell on Yu, leaving large scars. Dongshimao even jumped down from the air, and its sharp and hard claws went straight to Yu's head. He wanted to leave a few deep marks on Yu's hard skull. At this time, a shadow suddenly emerged from Yu's shadow, flew out in advance, and blocked the damage for Yu. It grabbed Ghastly, and went straight through him without any effect. After that, Ghastly stared at Meowth with wide eyes. A strong dizzy force burst out from its eyes. Meowth's eyes were dull, and it fell asleep. Although its body still pounced on Yu by inertia, it had completely lost the power to attack. Go. Yu turned over, and jumped on Absol, patted Absol's head, and let Absol run away. This time, he was in a hurry, and didn't bring the Pokeball with him, so he could only ride Absol first. Although Absol still wanted to fight, he knew that now was not a good time to do it, so he turned around and ran. Chase. After being knocked to the ground by Absol, Harksing did not faint immediately, but quickly issued an order. The uniforms of the Galaxy team were not just for viewing, but also protective gear with extremely high defense. Although Absol's attack was not weak, it was still far from knocking Harksing unconscious. A group of people immediately chased after Yu. No one has ever snatched something from the Galaxy team. Moreover, they didn't have much time. Although the bomb outside led away Sharona and the others were not fools, and would definitely rush back. Although they were not afraid at that time, they would be more troublesome. Now was not the time for the Galaxy team to openly go against the Alliance. Yu ran desperately, and blood flowed from his body from time to time, leaving it on the Platinum Jade Soul, but his eyes were very calm. Although he looked miserable, in fact, he didn't have any big problems. First, these big mouth bats were only high-level strength at most. Second, the human antibody ability in this world was originally strong. Zyozzy had resisted 100,000 volts many times. Third, and most importantly, Yu was rich and afraid of death. So even pajamas were bulletproof vests. Most of the damage was resisted. Looking at the distance gradually widening, Yu smiled. As long as we speed up and leave here, it will be fine. Sharona and the others are not dead after all, and they can react. We will settle this account slowly later. Just when Yu was delighted, a huge bipedal frog came and suddenly fell from the sky and punched Absol. Absol and Yu were knocked away at the same time, and fell heavily on the smooth wall. Man, your combat ability has really regressed. You can't even deal with a child. A blue-haired young man walked out slowly with the members of the Galaxy team. The senior combat officer of the Galaxy team, Zengxing. Chapter 20 Reversing the World. Don't be careless, this kid is not simple, said Huo Crossing. Using the fact that general type special moves are ineffective against ghost type, he let Ghastly suddenly appear to withstand the attack of Meowth, and then used hypnosis at close range, which is fine. Although it is ingenious, it is at most a trick. But without giving any orders, he was sure that Ghastly would take action, and it was terrible to do it according to his ideas. To what extent did he trust the Pokémon? If Ghastly hadn't taken action at that time, Yu would have died. It is said that Pokémon and trainers are the best companions, but how many trainers and Pokémon in this world dare to entrust their lives to each other? In addition, did he calculate accurately to withstand the siege of a group of Zubat? Is he really not afraid of death? A 10-year-old child dares to be so cruel to himself. As long as he doesn't die, his future achievements will definitely not be low. Don't make excuses for your failure. If you have the ability, let him escape now. Zen Crossing showed disdain. Toxic Skull Frog, don't hold back. Poison attack. The right hand of the Toxic Skull Frog emitted a purple light and hit Yu mercilessly. Although he said that he looked down on HUO Crossing and Yu, he was able to escape from HUO Crossing's hands. This was a real skill. Since he was against Team Jinga, he might as well kill him. Seeing this, Absol and Ghastly roared and rushed towards Toxoplasma. However, their strength was insignificant compared to Toxoplasma, which was already at the advanced elite level. With one punch, Shadow Ball and Evil Wave disappeared, and the two Pokémon rushed towards Yu. Yu showed despair. He had thought that he would die one day, but he never thought that he would die like this. Was it just his bad luck, or was Sinnoh a place that was born to be unlucky for his family? His grandfather, whom he had never met, died here, and he was going to die here too? Sirona, are they also slow to react? Blood surged and poured into the Platinum Jade Soul. The Platinum Jade Soul suddenly glowed inexplicably. The poison frog punched at the Platinum Jade Soul in Yu's hand. Yu was knocked away by the punch and crashed into the bright wall behind him. However, when he crashed into it, the pain he imagined did not come. The bright wall suddenly turned into a huge vortex, sucking Yu, Ghastly, Absol and the poison frog in one breath. Poison frog. Zengxing's face changed drastically. He hurriedly chased after it and reached out to grab the poison frog, but before he could pull it back, he was pulled in. Then the Galaxy team pulled one by one, and all of them were pulled in at once. Where is this? Huaxing and Zengxing fell in, at a loss, looking at each other around. The colorful and beautiful scenery was almost the same as outside, but it was the same. That made it look weird, and the buildings here seemed to be inverted. Legend has it that in addition to the world controlled by Dialga and Palkia, there is another world controlled by Giratina, called the Reverse World. Could it be here? Zengxing realized belatedly. Yes, it must be. Only this can explain everything in front of us. We have come to a brand new world. A brand new ideal world without filth or dirt. The adult's goal is about to be accomplished. Huaxing said with joy. Every underground organization has their own unique dream. Team Rocket wants to replace the Alliance. Team Magna wants to make the Earth press over the ocean and continuously create the Earth. And Team Aqua wants to make the ocean press over the Earth and continuously create the ocean. And Team Galaxy's goal is more ambitious than them, to destroy this entire dirty world, and then use Dialga and Palkia to create a perfect ideal new world. But now it seems that there is no need to do that. There is a perfect ideal new world here that they can conquer and control. Yu, who also came in, listened to the words of a group of people, with a very strange expression on his face, looking at the group of people with an expression, as if he was looking at a mentally retarded person. Sure enough, the Galaxy team had a problem with their brains. They all knew that this world was controlled by Giratina, but they didn't think about whether they would be killed by Giratina now, and they didn't think about how to get out. If they couldn't find a way out, the reversed world would have everything, but there was nothing alive or edible except Giratina. They would starve to death here. However, Yu didn't have time to remind them that these guys were so happy now that they didn't realize him. When they reacted, they would come to find him again. He took Absol back to the Pokeball and then sneaked away with Ghastly. That's right, but before we achieve this goal, we still have one thing to do, which is to control the way in and out of this world and to get rid of unnecessary people. Heyo Crossing calmed down his excitement and looked in the direction Yu just went, but he saw nothing. Where are the people? Go find him quickly. It's good for only us to know this world, and we don't need other people. And there is only one way to get in and out of this world, which is the Platinum Jade Soul. If we can't find him, we can't get out. Zen Crossing also realized that the situation was not good and shouted. A group of Team Galactic panicked and chased after Yu. Yu and Ghastly curled up in a small place, silently watching them running around while thinking about what to do in the future. Giratina's personality is not very good. To be precise, none of the three beasts of Sinnoh have good personalities. They are all stubborn territorialists. Anyone who enters their territory will be beaten to death if they are discovered. In several Sinnoh movies, the three of them fought each other. Dialga and Palkia thought each other was invading, and then attacked each other. Giratina thought that both of them were invading him, and then beat Dialga in various ways. Not to mention, there is nothing to eat here, and we must find a way to get out. But how to get out? To be precise, how did I get in? Although this world is a mirror of my own world, theoretically, you can enter here through any medium that can reflect objects, such as mirrors, lakes, and the steel plates on both sides of the corridors of his residence can clearly reflect his appearance, so theoretically he can also come in. But this is just a theory. If it was so easy to get in, this world would have been occupied by the Alliance long ago. How to get out? Yu frowned. If I remember correctly, the Pokémon movie said that there was a doctor who had been studying the reverse world for several years. He should be here now. If he could find it, he might be able to leave. But the reverse world is so big. Where is that doctor? At a loss, Yu suddenly heard a roar and saw the energy vibrating around him. A ferocious beast with a fierce look suddenly appeared from nowhere. As soon as it appeared, the energy around him was turbulent and chaotic. Huaxing and Zengxing changed color at the same time. Then, before they could react, a large black shadow suddenly covered them. After that, a series of screams broke out, including Huaxing, Zengxing. Dozens of Galaxy team members and a group of Pokémon screamed continuously and then fell to the ground together, and there was no sound. Then the figure of Giratina appeared again. Yu showed fear on his face. Just a moment ago, those people chased him to the point where he had no way to go up to the sky or down to the ground, and in front of Giratina, it was killed instantly. But this was not the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing was that the next moment Giratina came in front of him, staring at him with blood-red eyes without blinking. Chapter 21. A request must be made. Yu's Adam's apple moved a few times, and he looked at Giratina with his limbs stiff. He had always been curious about how powerful the mythical beast was. Now he might not be able to solve the question in his lifetime, but he could be sure of one thing. Giratina was much stronger than him, and could kill him with a breath of air. His life was hanging by a thread. Finally, Yu forced a smile and said, "Hello." At this awkward moment, Yu really didn't know what to say. Just say hello. As the saying goes, don't hit a smiling person, right? Hello. Giratina said. Huh. Yu looked horrified. He said hello, just because he had nothing to say, but he didn't expect Giratina to actually agree. Moreover, why can Giratina speak? In the movie version, it clearly can't. This is real speaking, not telepathic speaking. Is it strange? I have lived for who knows how many tens of thousands of years. I can learn any language in this world, as long as I want to learn it. Giratina looked at Yu and said. Yu suddenly realized, that's right, in the animation, the Gastlian Maiden Gorge could speak after only 1,000 years. Why can't Giratina? Come on my back, follow me to a place. Giratina turned around and floated to Yu's side. Get on your back, ride you? Yu blinked. Can I ride a mythical beast too? Yu was overjoyed, although he didn't know why. But looking at this, Giratina would definitely not be against him. So what was there to worry about? And jumped on Giratina's back. Riding a mythical beast achievement completed. Giratina didn't know what Yu was thinking, otherwise he might have thrown him off directly, but just took Yu to wander in the reverse world, and after a long time came to a beautiful hill. When Yu saw this mountain, his expression was infinitely strange. This mountain, or this mountain in the real world, is their family cemetery. Giratina brought Yu here, then threw Yu off, looking at a tombstone and said, "What is your relationship with him?" "That's my grandfather," Yu said, while looking at the tombstone. He seemed to have just figured out a reason. His grandfather, whom he had never seen, died heroically in a cross-regional joint operation more than 20 years ago. What that joint operation was, Yu still didn't know. It was a top secret of the Alliance. But now, perhaps we can guess something. It must be related to Giratina. Otherwise, Giratina would not treat him like this. Sure enough, your blood is very close, so he can enter this world, and so can you. Giratina said. Our blood. Giratina looked at the blood on the platinum jade soul, thinking, and understood the reason why he escaped from death. Looking at the photo of his grandfather on the tombstone, Yu couldn't help but sigh that things are impermanent. 20 years ago, his grandfather died here, and 20 years later, he lived because of his grandfather. Yes, Kit, I don't like humans very much. Your grandfather is an exception. At the beginning, he died for me. I saved you now, and paid back half of it. If you need anything, I will give it to you, and it will be considered as paying it back. Giratina said. I don't know what happened back then, but you owe my grandfather what you owe him. I have no right to ask you to do anything on my grandfather's behalf. On the contrary, you saved me today. I owe you. I have no right to say anything else. Yu shook his head and refused. He really didn't want anything. First, he didn't need it. Second, he was not a person who wanted to repay a favor. Besides, this favor was not bestowed by him, so he was embarrassed to ask for this favor. Don't want it? You humans are all trying to get benefits from me, but you don't want it? Giratina's eyes widened, exuding a dangerous aura. You don't owe me, I owe you. When I pay off what I owe you, I may ask for it, but not now. Yu said. Under normal circumstances, he is a very principled person. And Giratina is a single dragon, and it seems that there is nothing to be fleeced. If it was the Phoenix King, then Yu would be really shameless. After all, getting the power of the Phoenix King can bring the dead back to life once. People can stop being human. Not to mention principles. It's a debt. How can you not owe it? If you don't explain it, you can't leave. Giratina said angrily. Yu was stunned. The world is so big that there are all kinds of things. In his life, he has never seen anyone make such a request. I have to ask for it. I have to ask for it. Yu thought about it, and finally gave in. If you want to ask for it, there is nothing I can do. He said, I want you to help me improve Ghastly's strength. Can you learn your previous move Shadow Sneak? Shadow Sneak. It is a ghost type ultimate move. Not counting Z moves and Gigantamax moves, it is the most powerful ghost type ultimate move. And it is exclusive to Giratina, one of a kind. Are you kidding? This is my unique ultimate move. How can your little Ghastly learn it? Giratina said without thinking. Can't it? Yu said, but apart from asking you to help me improve Ghastly's strength, I really can't think of anything else. I can ask you, just say, will you let me go? Of course, Shadow Strike is my unique special move, just like your Kanto region. Ho-Oh's Holy Fire, Lugia's Aerial Blast. When have you ever seen them teach their special moves to other Pokémon? Giratina said without hesitation. I asked you to make a request casually, and you really made a request casually? Believe it or not, I will scold you to death. Yes. Enter Ino's Holy Fire. Yu said weakly. Fengdi. Giratina's eyes showed a trace of confusion. He had never heard of it, but judging from the boy's emotional fluctuations, it was true. Did someone deceive you? How come I have never heard of a magical beast like Entei? Without the power of Ho-Oh, it is impossible to learn the Holy Fire. No. Entei is a Pokémon that appeared hundreds of years ago. At that time, the humans in Johto wanted to control the guardian god of Johto, Ho-Oh, and then a war broke out. Countless people were killed and injured. Among them, 3 Pokémon died innocently in it, and then Ho-Oh resurrected them, one of which was Entei. I don't know what kind of Pokémon he was originally, but after resurrection, he was called Entei and became the messenger of Ho-Oh. Because of his fire attribute, he also knows the Holy Fire. Yu said. Hundreds of years ago. Giratina's expression was stunned. I seemed to be sleeping at that time and didn't pay any attention. Ho-Oh, did that guy also get 3 messengers? Isn't it that only Regigigas sleeps every day and he is afraid of being woken up when sleeping, so he got 3 pillars? Seeing Giratina's dazed look, Yu thought, it turns out that the mythical beasts don't often get together and the news is so blocked. But it makes sense. Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, the 3 created by Arceus, always fight when they meet. If they meet other mythical beasts again, the world will be over. Giratina naturally didn't know about Yuyu's change of mind. He just saw Yu standing there stupidly with a dull expression, as if to say, it turns out that you are not capable. It turns out that not every mythical beast can be like Ho-Oh. Giratina immediately said angrily, no problem, I'll teach you Ghastly Shadow Dive. No matter what, you can't lose face. You can't lose to the big turkey. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 Become My Messenger. You can really teach me. You looked at Giratina and said happily. He almost got killed by Team Galactic this time, and he also secretly remembered it in his heart. He would slowly settle the score in the future. His own strength must be improved. If he can learn Shadow Sneak, when Ghastly is fully grown, he will definitely beat a group of people. Okay, Giratina said with his neck stiff. He had said it out loud, so it was okay if he couldn't. He couldn't lose face. Thank you. How do I learn it? You thanked. Ghastly also appeared, staring at Giratina with his eyes. When Giratina attacked just now, it also saw it. It was so cool. If he learns it, maybe his mother can't beat him. He is no longer afraid of you asking his parents to come to him. There is no rush for this. Let me ask you first, are there many monsters with messengers now? Giratina said. Quite a few. Ho-Oh has 3 mythical beasts, Lugia has 3 mythical birds, Regigigas has 3 mythical pillars, Palkia and Dialga have 3 Uxes, Solgaleo and Lunala have 4 Kapu. You counted slowly. The 3 Uxes are Dialga and Palkia. What about me? Giratina said. Others are fine, but Dialga, Palkia and him were all created by Arceus, and then he got 3 Uxes. Shouldn't it be everyone's together? Yeah. To find Dialga and Palkia, you have to find the 3 Uxes first. It has nothing to do with you. You said weakly. You are not in the same world as them. Giratina showed an unhappy expression in his eyes. Dialga and Palkia, 2 are divided into 3. Can they be divided? You actually stole one of mine. Shameless. Alas, actually, I also think this is unfair to you. Think about you, Giratina. You are a Pokémon that controls the reverse world and supports the peace of the real world. How important is this? But you are all alone, and they all have it. This is unfair. In terms of importance, you are the most important. If one of the other mythical beasts dies, the sky will collapse, and the earth will crack, but the world may not be destroyed. If something happens to you, the reverse world will be destroyed, and the real world will definitely be gone. It's unfair. You complained for Giratina. He vaguely realized something. Sacred Fire is the exclusive trick of the Ho-Oh, and Entei learned it, but Entei could only learn it after becoming the messenger of the Ho-Oh. So if it was possible, Ghastly would not only learn a trick, but become the messenger of Giratina, which is often called a 3rd level god. Divine beasts can be created. Arceus, the god of creation, can create a 1st level god brother. And a 1st level god can create a 3rd level god brother. There was no Richelus or Entei in this world, but now there are both, right? Although it is only a 3rd level god, a bottom ranked mythical beast, it is still a mythical beast. Moreover, the 3rd level god is just a general distinction of the racial value of the tribe, and the actual combat power is not certain. Mu 680 has never beaten Mu 600. Listening to Yu's words, Giratina kept nodding, looking at Yu's expression, and became more and more kind. You are right. Ho-Oh, Lugia, and Regigigas each have 3 little brothers, and Dialga and Palkia use 3 little brothers together. Why? I don't have any. How are they better than me? Why can they all fly freely in the outside world, but I have to be in this lonely world without even a little brother? Although doing so will cause great losses, the losses are temporary and can be made up later, and face is a lifetime. Boy, I think you are very intelligent. Giratina said. Yes, only you, who are handsome and great, have such a vision. The rest of the Pokémon are not worthy of comparing with you. You said. Giratina kept nodding. It had been a Pokémon since its birth. Although it would look outside and occasionally see some mythical beasts, it was mostly alone. Who had ever heard of someone flattering someone so well? Yu was also completely shameless. He wanted to prove that he had everything he wanted. Yu and Giratina chatted for a full 5 hours. Yu didn't care if he was hungry or not. Giratina looked very happy and looked at Yu and said, "Boy, I think your soul energy is very unusual. Is it different?" Yu pretended not to understand. He had always known this. Perhaps because of his rebirth, his soul power was very strong. Ordinary hypnosis and illusions were ineffective on him. "Yes, it's very different. How about being my messenger?" Giratina said. "Be your messenger? I'm a human, not a Pokémon." Yu said. "It doesn't matter. People and Pokémon are all the same. Humans are also a kind of Pokémon. My powers include Ghost and Dragon. You can't bear the dragon, but you can bear the ghost. If you accept it, you can open a power similar to superpowers and wave power. Are you willing?" Giratina said. "Yes," Yu said without hesitation. At this moment, even if he died and was nailed in the coffin, he would kick the coffin open and jump out, saying yes loudly. Superpowers. He wanted to have them a long time ago. Look at Nancy in Golden City. She used superpowers to an extreme extent. She could turn everyone into dolls alive, unable to move, and she could also teleport from the east side of the city to the west side of the city in an instant. If it weren't for the King tournament, the trainer couldn't play in person. Nancy had already won a King, or even the championship, and it's more convenient to fight in the wild. In the wild, if you can't pick up the trainer, you have to go back to deal with the Pokémon. Yes, your Ghastly is not bad either. Do you have any other Pokémon? It would be best if it were Ghost or Dragon. It would be best if it had both. 3 in one go. Giratina said. No, Yu said. Ghost Pokémon and Dragon Pokémon are both relatively rare. Besides Giratina, the only Pokémon with both Ghost and Dragon attributes is Dragonite. But Dragonite is far away in the Galar region, and there are few of them. Compared with Dragonite and Banjira, who are also quasi-gods, there are many of them. The family has been looking for it for so many years, but still hasn't found it. That's it for now, and we'll make up for it later. Boy, after you become my messenger, you will have to maintain the peace of the reversed world in the future, and walk around the outside world for me. Giratina said. I heard from this kid that, if you want to catch Ho-Oh outside, you should catch 3 Entei first, and if you want to catch Lugia, you should catch 3 Articuno first. Now that I have a messenger, if you want to do something to me in the future, you have to beat this kid first. If something happens, they will die first. Safe. A group of humans, making trouble every day, let humans deal with humans. Yu and Ghastly waited eagerly, ready to receive the power. Accept my power. Giratina, with dim eyes, the power of reversing the world surged towards it from all directions, and then the platinum jade soul shone. The purple-black energy fluctuations kept changing, and it was injected into Ghastly and Yu in one breath. Thanks to Bing Rumeng. Kyan Ruoking Feng's reward. Chapter 23 Kyojin's Rage. Xiaoyao is still missing. This is going to be a big deal. In the research institute, Uncle Le walked around anxiously. Kyojin, boom. The only son of the family at this time. What if something unexpected happens? Boom, boom. A series of airplane engines suddenly came from the sky. A group of people looked up and saw hundreds of airplanes and airships coming in the eastern sky with great momentum. Here they come. Lusamine said as she looked at the airships in the sky. She was also very innocent. She came all the way here. Unexpectedly, she didn't see an ultimate beast, but heard that her best friend's son was missing. The airship landed, and a large number of people in uniforms came down and completely blocked and surrounded the area of several thousand meters around the residence. Then 4 people got off an airship. The first one was a hunchbacked old woman. She seemed to be just an ordinary old man, but she exuded a terrifying cold breath, which made a group of trainers in Sharona look solemn. As the bond between Pokémon and trainers deepens, Pokémon will become more and more like trainers, but at the same time, trainers will also be infected by Pokémon. This ghostly aura proves that this person is at least a king. The oldest king in Kanto, the Ghost King Kikuko, is really here. The second one is a middle-aged man in a suit and tie, wearing a pair of glasses, with a gloomy face. He doesn't look like a Pokémon trainer, but he is an official who has been in a high position for a long time. Kyojin Ayu, the director of the Union Finance Department. The third one is a graceful lady, with a terrifying coldness in her eyes, like a queen. Sasaki 1, the eldest daughter of the previous generation of the Sasaki family, the queen of business. The fourth one is younger than the previous 3, but her eyes are cold and her aura is unbelievably strong. Kyojin Ayu, a senior executive of Interpol. All the heavyweights of the Sasaki family are here. Miss. Uncle Lair walked up to him a little embarrassed. It was his fault that you disappeared here again. You don't have to tell me. Tell Xiao. She has the final say here now. Yu's mother said directly. She was very angry that her only son disappeared. But after so many years in the business world, she has been able to control her emotions very well and leave professional matters to professionals. Yes. Uncle Len nodded and looked at Kyojin on the side. Has anyone left here since Xiao disappeared? Kyojin asked straight to the point. I don't know about the people from the underground organizations that attacked, but none of the people who came before have left. Uncle Len replied. That's good. From now on, no one is allowed to leave, except the inventory and hypnosis one by one. Kyojin looked at everyone and said. The faces of a group of people changed one after another. Who doesn't have some little secrets? Who is willing to be hypnotized? What if you are hypnotized and say something you shouldn't say? That doesn't make sense. Lusamine stood up and retorted. She didn't do anything. She came here and was interrogated and hypnotized. It was too aggrieved. Now, I'm the reason. If you are willing to cooperate, I won't hurt you. If you don't want to cooperate, I will force you. Kyojin said forcefully. If you don't accept it, then beat them until they accept it. The hundreds of people in Kyojin's family, as well as her confidants in Interpol, are all advanced trainers and above, and they are really using real guns and bullets. Whoever resists, kill him. This is against the rules. Afterwards, she will basically be punished, and the position she has fought for decades will most likely be lost. But the only descendant of the Kyojin family is now missing, so why should he care about these things? The family is gone, so what else can he care about? Lusamine, I also know that you are wronged, but please cooperate. It has nothing to do with you. I will compensate you, Yuma said. Seeing this, Lusamine didn't know what to say, but just sat down dissatisfied. No, what are you doing? Why do you hypnotize us? We are not prisoners. I will tell Miss Junsha to arrest you. Lusamine had nothing to hide. Although she was dissatisfied, she did not resist fiercely. But Kairi, who had something to hide, was different. Not only did Yu disappear, but Huo Crossing, Zen Crossing and Beijing Hun disappeared together. He was as anxious as an ant on a hot pot. There are only a few senior combat officers in the Galaxy team. He would feel distressed if one died before the mission was completed. What's more, there is Beijing Hun. So he didn't leave. After all, leaving at this time would also seem problematic. But he never thought that staying would cause bigger problems. Being hypnotized, who knows what will happen after being hypnotized? You don't accept it? Kyojin looked at Kairi. Yes, I don't accept it. I'm a legitimate businessman in the Alliance. You are illegally imprisoning and interrogating me. I will take you to court. Even if your identity is different, you will be in trouble. Kairi looked directly at Kyojin, not afraid. Kyojin would not be able to end up illegally imprisoning so many people even in Kanto, let alone this is Sinop. In response to him, Kyojin kicked him directly in the stomach and knocked Kairi to the ground. I don't care whether you accept it or not, I'm the truth. Wait until you can get out of here alive, then you can sue me. The first one is you. As he spoke, a white Jenga emerged from Kyojin shadow and took Kairi away. So domineering, so unreasonable. Sharona looked at Kyojin and said, it is reasonable that the only A got into trouble. Anyway, we didn't do it. We are not afraid of the shadows. There is no need to conflict with them at this time. Dr. Mr. Dorkid said, if there is a conflict at this time, the Kyojin family will not hold back at all. The longest serving king in the entire alliance is not fake. Aju, who is recognized as having the strength of a king, challenged Kikuko in the last Champions League, the King Challenge. In the end, she was defeated 3 times and 6 times. There is no need. No one wants to fight her. Because, basically, you can't beat her. Sharona nodded. Although she really wanted to challenge this alliance king, it was obviously not the right time. The interrogation began, and no one was spared. And the result of the first interrogation was really beyond the expectations of a group of people. The most famous charity businessman in SYNOPSIS turned out to be the behind-the-scenes leader of the Galaxy team and the culprit of all this. He took the lead in blowing up the ruins and asked his subordinate Suaxing and Zengxing to do it. He was directly locked up and interrogated in various ways. During this period, the remaining leader of the Galaxy team, Suxing, wanted to rescue him, but he was also arrested. The biggest leader and 3 senior combat cadres were arrested or disappeared, and the Galaxy team fell into an unprecedented predicament. But Yu was still not found. There was a riot in Kyojin's house, and countless people were dispatched to conduct a carpet search. After 7 days, all the people nearby were counted, but no clues were found. It can only be confirmed that Yu, Huo Crossing, Zen Crossing and Beijing have disappeared. It was a gloomy cloud. Kikuko's hair turned a few whiter. Yu's father and mother hadn't slept for several days. And at this moment, Yu suddenly came out from the corridor and greeted everyone. Long time no see. Chapter 24 Family Meeting. What happened? After coming out, Yu was tortured and finally confirmed by Yu's mother that he was her biological son. Then he cried with joy. After a series of twists and turns, Yu was tortured. This is what happened. Since they were all the people he trusted the most, Yu did not hide anything and told them everything. After that, Kikuko, Kyojin Yu's father and Yu's mother were completely shocked. That's right, my nephew, my son, actually saw the legendary Giratina. And he became the messenger of Giratina. After a long while, a group of people reacted. Kikuko sighed. I didn't expect that what my eldest brother did back then would now be a blessing to Yu. This place of Sinop. A group of people also looked a little sad. They didn't expect that what happened 20 years ago would save Yu now. Yu's mother even made up her mind to go back and burn some incense for her father-in-law. To be honest, not only Yu was not familiar with his grandfather, but he, as a daughter-in-law, was also not familiar with him. After all, Yu's grandfather died more than 20 years ago, and Yu's mother only met Yu's father 15 years ago. They have been in love for 5 years, and have been happily married for 10 years. So, how much have you grown in strength now? Kikuko asked. Feel it for yourself. Yu stretched out his hand, and a powerful force burst out. Kikuko, Kyojin Yu's father and Yu's mother were all enveloped by a terrifying force and floated up directly, unable to move. After a while, Yu put them down. It's probably the strength of a quasi-king, and you only have this much strength. Kikuko said, Giratina's gift shouldn't be like this. It's mainly to develop my ability. The upper limit in the future, I still need to develop it myself. The starting point is high, and the upper limit is higher. Yu said. What about Ghastly now? Kikuko asked. It's Haunter. Yu looked at his shadow, and a black shadow floated by. Haunter floated out of Yu's shadow. Compared with the previous Ghastly, it had a pair of hands that were not connected to the body. After receiving so much energy from Giratina, if it doesn't evolve, it will be a ghost. This is because Giratina is considering development and has not fully indoctrinated. Otherwise, evolving Jenga would not be a problem. Evolved Jenga, play with little Haunter. Kikuko took out the Pokeball, and a big Jenga appeared in the room. Haunter, who has always been fearless, suddenly became terrified when he saw Kikuko's Jenga. How come he met his parents again? Before he could react, Jenga opened one hand and pulled Haunter to fight outside. Although Haunter got the power of Giratina, it is still a chicken in front of its mother. Without any resistance, it was pulled away. Then, 3 minutes later, Haunter fell to the ground like a dead dog. Jenga floated back leisurely, as if the person lying on the ground was not her own son. Not bad magic, speed, energy defense, physical defense. All 4 items have reached the advanced elite level, which is already the best among the elites. Kikuko gave a satisfactory evaluation. Pokémon strength, from low to high-low level, intermediate, advanced, elite, quasi-king, king, champion. Then the 6 items of ability are energy attack, energy defense, physical attack, physical defense, physical strength, and speed. but it doesn't mean that all 6 items must meet the same level standard to be considered. This is completely impossible. Even if a champion level tortoise runs, its speed cannot be faster than that of an elite level Pidgeot. Instead, it can be considered as a Pokémon if a few items meet the standard. Low level, intermediate, and advanced. If one item meets the standard, it will be considered. The elite and quasi-king standard is to meet 2 standards. The king and champion are 3. After all, actual combat is not about competing with others one by one. Combat is to use the part that you are best at and the hardest to hit the weakest and most vulnerable part of others. The tactics of a trainer is how to make Pokémon fully play the part that they are best at. Meeting the standards for 4 items at the same time shows that the foundation is excellent and there is great potential for future development. I can finally retire and don't have to occupy this position. In no more than 10 years, Xiaoyao will be able to take over this position from me. He may even become the first champion in Kanto. Of course, the key is potential. He has one more evolution. Yu smiled. Giratina did not improve Haunter's ability quickly, but improved Haunter's entire genetic ability, making Haunter's future more likely. After fully evolving, his racial value will be at the same level as the 3 mythical birds, or even higher. Because Jenga has super evolution. Kalos region, Mega evolution stone, who doesn't know about it when traveling? But even in Kalos region, it is difficult to find, and Kalos region has isolation measures for other regions, so it is difficult to get it for the time being. But in a few years, it will definitely be found. If it can be eternally super evolved, it will be even better. After all, there is a speculation in the super evolution theory that the super evolved form is the final form of Pokémon, but because of the changes of the times, it cannot go further. So, work hard. I hope you will be the champion of this quartz conference, said Kiku. It's a bit difficult. It's not long before the quartz conference. I only have 3 Pokémon in my hand now. Not even 6. Yu said. What does it matter? When I fought Aju, when did I use the 4th one? 3 against 6. It's enough, said Kiku. Yu's mouth twitched, looking at Juicy. Do you think everyone is you? Everyone knows that the 4 heavenly kings of Kanto are all monsters. Especially you. Zibber and Aju have been mated out their lives by you. Okay. Come on. Don't let me, an old woman, down. You are still in the position of the heavenly king at such an old age. Juicy looked at Yu and said. Juicy is still the heavenly king now. On the one hand, she feels that she still has energy, and she wants to keep fighting with young people, and pursue being stronger. On the other hand, she is also the one that the family cannot replace. Yu's father is mediocre in talent as a Pokémon trainer, and Kyojin is also a little worse, and is considered a quasi-heavenly king, but it is almost impossible to have a heavenly king position in Kanto, not to mention that she is not interested. So for the sake of the family, Juicy has been carrying it. Now that Yu has strength, everything is easy to say. I'll try my best, but grandma, if you want to retire, you can retire now. Even if I don't play now, it will be the same after a few years. Yu said. In any case, work hard. Because of you, you little brat, I have to rush here at such an old age. Now, you can solve the problem yourself. I'll go to the Orange Islands and take a bath in Kona. The hot springs there are said to be good for health and anti-wrinkle. Kiku glared at Yu, then stood up and prepared to leave. Yu came back and knew the reason. There was no point in staying. Even if there were any other problems, Yu's father and mother could solve them, and they didn't need her, an old lady. It's better to go back and sleep. People should sleep more when they get old. That's right, then I should go too. This time because of you, Kit, I have to bear the punishment, but fortunately, I accidentally caught the leader of the Galaxy team, Kairi. If I can uproot the Galaxy team, I might even get a promotion. Kyojin said. Kairi was caught? Yu was confused. What happened during the time I disappeared? Yes, you don't know yet. Kyojin told the whole story. After listening to it, Yu sighed in his heart. Kairi, you have come to this day. In this way, the Galaxy team should be finished. After all, the main core of the Galaxy team is Red Sun. If Red Sun is controlled, the rest will be easy to deal with. The Galaxy team is not like the Rocket team. The Rocket Team's industrial chain is complex and involves various dark channels. It can be said that if there are any bad incidents in Kanto, Johto, and the Orange Islands, if no one can be found, the Rocket Team will be blamed. There is an 80% probability that it is correct. It is really a huge organization that is spread all over the country. Even if Sasaki wants to retire, the Rocket Team will not stop. It is even possible that a group of people will kill Sasaki and become the boss themselves. The Galaxy team takes the route of being small and elite. Most of the funds come from Red Sun's business. There are not many channels. For example, in the original work, they have to cooperate with Hunter J to capture the Three Lakes God. Now that this is happening, Yu even doubts whether the rest of the Galaxy team will disband on their own. Most people still don't believe in destroying the world. Chapter 25, Haunter. Absol, use evil wave. In the backyard of the residence, Haunter floated up and down, perfectly embodying the essence of the four words appearing and disappearing like a ghost. Absol jumped around, although not as elusive as Haunter, but also vigorous and powerful, with purple light flashing in his mouth, filled with destructive power, shooting at Ghastly. Haunter dodged sideways and suddenly dissipated like smoke, and then a shadow ball the size of a basketball appeared out of thin air and hit Absol. Absol, hide. Absol's eyes flashed green, as if he saw through everything, and his body moved to the right, just avoiding Haunter's attack, naturally, as if he had expected this step when attacking. Then, Absol leaped hard, and pounced on Haunter in the air. Haunter's figure floated, and in a seemingly impossible situation, he floated away and avoided it, turning into a ball of black shadow. Then they fought back and forth for more than 10 minutes before Yu clapped his hands and said, "Okay, that's enough, let's take a break." The two Pokémon stopped fighting, and Absol lowered his head to eat his Pokémon food, but while eating, the sickle horn on his head kept shining, sensing the changes around him at all times. However, it was useless, as a ghost hand suddenly appeared out of nowhere, and took away some Pokémon food in front of Absol. Absol made a dissatisfied cry, but Haunter ignored it and quickly disappeared. Absol stared, puffed up his cheeks, and secretly vowed to blow up the Haunter after he became stronger. Haunter laughed triumphantly and walked away. He and Absol have different attributes, and Pokémon food is also different, so he does not eat Absol's food. He just wants to be naughty by snatching Absol's food. Since evolving his hands, Haunter has become more naughty. And the target is not only Yu. He started to play tricks on her. Seeing this, Yu just smiled and didn't care. Although Absol looked so angry, in fact, he and Haunter had a good relationship. Occasionally playing tricks on her did not affect the relationship, and it even made it better. Continuing to do data analysis, in the previous battle, Absol and Haunter learned their new skills respectively. Absol's is see-through. A fighting skill. In the battle of thousands of hammers, see through the opponent's attack path, so as to avoid the opponent's next move. Yu wanted to change it, and develop the see-through skill from a defensive skill to an offensive skill, and defeat the opponent, after seeing through the opponent's behavior. Develop the effect of the mind's eye. But, obviously failed. However, everything is difficult at the beginning, and failure is the mother of success. The successful experience of countless kings told Yu that, if you don't have a big brain, and don't develop new routines, you can't be a king. And Haunter's is shadow stealth. It's just that on Giratina, this is a trick that can destroy the world, but in Haunter's hands, it is only for escaping. I don't know if Giratina will be so angry that he will beat Haunter to death if he sees it. However, judging from the data analysis, the results are all good. If the situation continues to develop in this way, when the Quartz Conference begins, Haunter will definitely be able to evolve into Jenga and enter the Quasi-King level. If he is lucky, he may be able to go further. Absol is a little worse, but his talent is also excellent. Although he prefers long-range attacks such as Destruction Ray, his close combat ability is also superior. When the Quartz Conference begins, it is hard to say whether he can become a Quasi-King, but there will be no problem at the advanced elite level. If he is lucky and breaks through to the Quasi-King level, Yu will really fight the alliance with 3 people. Anyway, the Quartz Conference is getting worse every year, and this year is definitely the worst. Even Zyos his Linoop can make it to the top 16. If Charizard is obedient, it can even make it to the top 8. We know the level of this year. Turquoise Kings and Advanced Elite are almost enough. If necessary, at Z moves. Mega Evolution Stones and Evolution Keystones are hard to find, but Z Bracelets and Z Pure Crystals are not. Practice hard and reach the pinnacle of life. Yu encouraged himself, then changed the page, and began to write his homework report for this trip. The school is really heartless. It was supposed to be a reward, but after the reward, I had to write a learning experience report to explain what I learned this time. Yu put his hands on the keyboard, ready to type, but just after typing a few dozen words, he suddenly fell into deep thought. Learning experience, telling what I learned, finding out the shortcomings, and reflecting on it. But what did I do on this trip? Was I caught in the reverse world, and then flattered Giratina? Reflected on where I didn't flatter well, and then continued to study? If I hand in such a report, I will get a 0. Yu rubbed his brows. Forget it. Find a template and copy it almost. Don't take this kind of thing too seriously. Help. Just when Yu was about to finish writing the report, he suddenly heard a nervous cry for help. Yu looked helpless. It was Haunter's voice. Since becoming the messenger of Giratina, Haunter has acquired the ability to speak. Looking up in the direction of the voice, he saw Haunter running over in a panic. Behind it, a dark blue Pokémon that looked like a shark was flying in the sky at an extraordinary speed. Its wings, like blades, emitted a rich green light and slashed at Haunter fiercely. Haunter turned into a cloud of smoke and tried to sneak away in the shadows, but was still slashed by a knife and flew to Yu in a mess. Yu looked up at the Pokémon. Under the moonlight, its eyes were stern, and it exuded the aura of a strong man. When the always brave Absol saw it, he instinctively shrank back and felt a strong threat to his life. Whatever Haunter did, I will take responsibility if there is any problem. Don't be angry. Although helpless, Yu still stood up at this time. He raised it himself, so there was nothing he could do. Besides, he was not afraid of Garchomp. After all, it has an owner. There is only one Garchomp in the institute, and that is the owner's ace main force. There is no need, and it will definitely not hurt anyone. It's nothing. It's not a big deal. It's just that your Haunter suddenly ran over and scared Eevee, and Garchomp got angry. At this time, Sirona's voice sounded, and Yu saw Sirona flying down on Togekiss, holding a cute little Eevee in her arms. Hearing this, Yu glared at Haunter in the shadow fiercely, calling you a naughty boy. Are you naughty? The adults are right next to you, and you still dare to scare the children? Don't you look at your own strength, the elite level, the opponent, the king starts, and the champion may also be. Haunter smiled apologetically. Come out and apologize, Yu said. Haunter emerged from Yu's shadow, and then transformed into an Eevee, rolling on the ground to act cute. The frightened Eevee in Shirona's arms saw the Eevee transformed by Haunter. Although he knew it was fake, his big black eyes couldn't help showing curiosity. He came out of Shirona's arms and played with the Eevee transformed by Haunter. Perfect solution, Yu said. Your Haunter can transform. Shirona looked at Yu in surprise. This was the first time she saw such a Haunter. Yes, this is one of the only two I know so far, Yu said. The other one is of course the 1000-year-old Ghastly in Maiden Gorge. He can directly transform into a human and speak human words, and he makes trouble every year, which makes people remember the legend of Maiden Gorge. His strength is unfathomable, and he doesn't play by the rules. When fighting Pikachu, he actually turned into a mousetrap, and when fighting with Ghastly, he used a gas mask. You have seen another one. Shirona looked at Yu in surprise. His strength is not very good, but he knows a lot. Yes, ghost and psychic types are the most special categories. Especially ghosts. The birth of many ghost Pokémon seems to be the rebirth of the evolution of the undead, Yu said. And there is really a spirit world in the Pokémon world. In the animation, when Zyossi was in Sinnoh training class, a female ghost appeared. Undead. Shirona's pretty face turned pale. Even though she was a powerful trainer, she was afraid of ghosts. It had nothing to do with the trainer's level. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.